if the bars,
The sound bars.
if the sound bars, they're right in front of me. I have everything monitored, like a good producer would, you know what I mean? So I got everything monitored. I can see everything.
However,
I would be looking at this yesterday, and then I just missed the bars. I didn't see it, that they were dead. Because I'm too busy. I'm like, I got things to say. I got so many things to say for so many people. They're going to love it.
and they can't hear.
I had a little gimmick all set because I was like, responding to somebody on the YouTube channel, which was fun.
Uh-huh. What?
Hello, everyone.
I liked your joke that I wish that you'd said when you were live.
What?
I told you to fix it. You still have like a little hair coming in your mouth.
Oh, and then I looked up and I said, it was a big shark. It was a 25-footer. Could kill a man in one bite. And I looked it right in the eye.
This is my favorite thing is when you just like create a character and you don't even bother explaining it. You just go straight to like the middle of dialogue.
Who's Pro Blake? Who's
favorite.
ex-patriarch? Oh yeah. So Bobo said something about ex-patriarch had a great post. I haven't been following any followers because I'm so, or any content creators because I'm so damn busy, bro. You guys want to see what I made today? Watch your screens, everybody. Watch your screens now.
He's gonna show off.
All right, ready?
Show and tell.
Now look, it's budget. Like this is just my draft. It's got no sound yet. It's kind of filthy. Huh? What do you think?
So great.
Top-notch outfit. Mm-hmm. Huh? It's a AAA production over here. So I'm so excited, of course.
Archival Raccoon says, I hate to ask again, but I'm still looking for a copy of the full redacted deposition. Well, I have an unredacted deposition of Baldoni if anyone happens to have it. I mean, I have it. How do I get it to...
The unredacted?
Yeah, the deposition that I've been reading from. It doesn't have any
the
redacted.
Unredacted, yeah. You want to give that to somebody?
Yeah, I don't know how to... I mean, it's not like... it was on... I don't know what it's called.
I wonder if we could post it on Patreon so people could just grab it from there. What happened to Delicate?
What happened to Delicate?
Delicate said something. Where's Delicate? Hey guys, can't join today. Have a funeral to go to.
Oh, that's a bummer. Well, I feel confident in saying that you would have had a nicer time if you hung out with us. This deposition is called Exhibit H.
Yes. Archival Raccoon, you can email Angela. Just go to freedomsplum.com and fill out the contact there. Or just go to, or email her at freedomsplum@gmail.com and just in the subject line, because we have a huge staff. So you have to just designate. We don't give them emails because we make sure we see everybody's emails.
Yeah, they also, they live in a cave underground too. So it's like they don't really get good reception down there.
We should probably call the show It's the Wheatleys, because Manderley came back with, hi, Wheatleys. It's the Wheatleys, even though you're not actually a Wheatley.
I'm not actually a Wheatley, but I'm fine with people thinking I am.
Yeah.
That's how much I like you.
You'd be the third one. Not for me, but in our family. Oh my God. 6 concurrent viewers, 6 chat rate, 6 views.
It's the devil sign.
It's happening. It's the mark.
The mark of the beast.
The mark of the beast. Yeah, it's been a crazy day. How was your day? Was your day okay? Because I don't know, I didn't really see you much today. I've been. I know
so you were stuck in here in your office.
I have cups everywhere.
Pandemonium.
Yeah.
My day was good. I was writing a web copy for my astrology website.
Yeah, that's coming. It's coming around the corner.
Mm-hmm. Not very fun. Not very fun work.
Want good fiber, says Splish. Eat your Wheatleys. That would be like such a weird, like, that would be perfect if you were writing like some kind of post-apocalyptic, cannibalistic society.
Tell me more.
Like, the Wheatleys became, like, they were delectable for some reason. Like, just as a lineage goes. Like, of all the humans, Wheatleys were the tastiest. Mm-hmm. So the Wheatley farms began.
Wheatley.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it, like
You'd be like driving through Texas
like
and a bunch
Angus
of
beef.
Wheatleys. You're just driving through Texas and there's just a bunch of Wheatleys outside grazing or eating barbecue. All crowded.
Yeah.
I like bump. Fuck off, man. Hey, fuck you, man. Hey, fuck you, Wheatley.
I did think I do enjoy the genre of post-apocalypse dystopian stories, novels, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel like there's two things that they seem to miss a lot. Number
that?
one is the cannibalism, because I feel like that would definitely happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying like in all of the survival stories you've ever heard.
I think it says a lot about you, Angela.
Does it?
Yeah, it sounds
in
like
all the survival
you might
stories,
like jump the gun a little early and be like, you know what? I'm just gonna eat you.
No, in all of the survival stories that you actually hear about, like real, true survival stories, that is often an aspect. And so I don't know why we're thinking that, like, in the post-apocalypse, that maybe people wouldn't have to deal with this this same struggle. And also another thing
Okay.
is that for some reason people have gas, and they can use gas. And apparently gas, like...
What do you mean, gasoline fuel?
Yes, like
Or do you mean,
apparently
like,
it expires
Too many beans?
after like 6 months or something.
Bad gas, yeah.
Yeah, so it's weird that they
It just
have,
degrades, right? It degrades over time.
they
It just
have
gets,
cars that work.
Right. Well, you got to refine some fuel. Mm-hmm. It's not easy to do.
Not easy to do in the post-apocalypse.
No. No, vehicles, that's not a real thing unless there's refineries. Or unless they're electric.
This will be
Because
useful for when we get there.
post-apocalyptic movies and stories, they didn't have the forethought into having solar-powered vehicles.
Yeah, like it occurs at a certain, if it happens in the future, if the story takes place in the future anyway, then maybe they're off of fossil fuels.
What? Cosmic Urgency said, did you see what Woody Allen's wife said to Jeffrey Epstein? Which wife?
I'm sorry, Woody Allen's adopted daughter? Is that who you're talking about?
Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, that's who we're talking about.
Did you know what she said?
Yes.
What'd she say?
She said that she thought that the Me Too movement went too far.
How does that happen? What is that? Is she just being ironic?
I don't know what the context is. I know that I've learned very well that you can't ever trust a headline because they will twist whatever somebody said into the dumbest shit you've ever heard for clicks. So I don't know what she actually said, but that was the headline.
Cosmic dropping the bombs. Yeah, well, I am not up on the days,
Yeah, and also
bounty
like
because-
nobody asked you. Like who gives
What's her name?
Sun Yi?
How do you spell that?
I don't know her last name. She didn't take.
Soon?
Yes. It's hyphenated.
Sun Yi Pravin? Yeah, that's her.
Mm-hmm.
All right, news. What did you say? What did you say?
I feel like I've never in my life heard her quoted saying anything.
She can marry whoever she wants. Okay? That's my view on that. She can marry whoever she wants. It's weird. The whole situation's weird. That's also my view on
Super
that.
weird.
That's also my view on that.
Yeah, if you're going to marry whoever you want and it happens to be somebody you're related to by adoption, then you better be prepared for everybody to call it weird for the rest of eternity.
But stuff happens, man. I had a family member.
That is a super big taboo right there.
My family member's parents got divorced. And then his mother remarried. And, he met his stepsister and fell in love with her. And he married her. And everyone was weird about it. And I was like, why?
I mean, they're not related and they didn't grow up together.
At all. There's nothing going on there except that they're only so-called siblings because of this union, which is a legality. But genetically, they're perfectly suitable for each other. And everyone was in a huff, man. I couldn't believe it. The whole family was like, can you believe it? And I was like, well, yeah, I can.
Yeah, that's a different
What?
situation than this one.
The guy's like attracted to her. She's attracted to him. They fall in love. They shouldn't because they're step sisters and brothers. It's the fucking most ridiculous thing ever. So this is where there's a little bit for me of okay, do your thing. It's fucking weird.
No, and Woody Allen had like a lot of nerve when Dylan spoke out saying that he had abused her in her childhood. He had a lot of nerve denying it when he's married one of his other children. Like you're not exactly creating a whole bunch of confidence in how you were not the sort of person that would do that kind of thing. I just thought that
All
was...
right, here's how with the Guardian. This is how the Guardian reports it. All right, they say so. Woody Allen's wife, Soon-Yi Previn, told Epstein that #MeToo movement went too far.
I'm sorry, she told Epstein this?
So it gets better.
That was missing from the headline.
It went from...
I'm sorry, she was in a conversation with Epstein?
Yeah.
Over email or what?
Apparently, I'm about to let you... I'm dropping it right now. She also smeared teen victim of former Congressman Anthony Weiner as despicable and disgusting. Files show Soon-Yi Previn, the wife of film director Woody Allen, sent emails to Jeffrey Epstein telling the convicted sex offender that the Me Too justice movement has quote unquote has gone too far, and smearing an underage girl at the center of a sexting case as despicable and disgusting, rather than the former U.S. congressman who went to prison for illicitly messaging the minor, according to recently released government files. At one point, Previn also wrote about how her half-brother, Ronan Farrow, received more prestige than he deserves. In a New York Times article published months after his journalism about Harvey Weinstein, the disgraced movie mogul and now convicted sex offender.
Oh, I guess she didn't read the book Catch and Kill because it was incredible.
Won a share of the Pulitzer Prize and kicked off the Me Too movement.
Okay. You know what's so funny is that I don't recall another time where I went from not having any opinion about somebody whatsoever and not ever thinking about them for like a decade to having like a really, really negative opinion of somebody.
She, for instance, sent a September 26th daily article to Epstein about her former Congressman Anthony Weiner. Had texted a 15-year-old asking her to undress for him and engage in rape fantasies. The article had ignited this. You remember Weiner got busted for that.
I don't remember that being the scandal.
Yeah, it was fucking so bad. I think that was the second one, wasn't it?
I don't recall.
Weiner, he, you know.
I don't recall that this was an underage girl ever. I don't remember ever hearing that.
She, for instance, sent a September 2016 Daily Mail article to Epstein about how former Congressman Anthony Weiner had texted a 15-year-old asking her to undress for him and engage in rape fantasies.
Whoa.
The article had ignited another scandal for Weiner, whose political career had already, that's what I mean, this was the second one, who had already nosedived upon previously being caught sexting young women while he was still married.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Wow, Epstein replied to Previn. I know, Previn responded before adding, I also thought it was disgusting what the 15-year-old did to Weiner.
Bitch.
Well, because she was like a kid when she was seducing or being a part of, right? She was like a teenager, right? When
I
don't
trust the.
But when she hooked up with Woody, right?
narrative.
She was like straight up like just past the Barbie stage, right?
I have no idea, but I wouldn't frame it as she was seducing if
And
she's
I don't
a
mean
teenager.
the Barbies. I'm not trying to be shitty about
I wouldn't
Barbies.
listen.
Yeah.
You got to take it back because
G.I. Joe stage.
framing any teenager as being seductive
Yeah.
is definitely victim blaming in this scenario.
Well, I'm saying that's her perception. I'm talking about her perception because she's already saying that it's the 15-year-old doing that. So if in her mind she had early reconciled and was irreconcilable about her feelings toward this kind of an issue, meaning like she knew what she was doing when she was that age. I've heard it before from women. You know, they're like, hey, man, I was totally in control of my 15-year-old body, bro. I made the decisions.
Yes, but that's usually women talking about themselves. And she seems to be wanting to say that about another 15-year-old.
Correct. I'm saying that's definitely inappropriate and not fucking at all fucking valid by any stretch of the imagination, but maybe coming from her perspective is my point. I hate women who take advantage of guys, and she is definitely one of them. She knew exactly what she was doing and how vulnerable Weiner was, and she reeled him in like a fish to bait. Previn said of the child at the center of the case, what is her excuse for being a despicable and disgusting person who preys on the weak?
Okay, so all of this is in response to Jeffrey Epstein replying the one single word, wow.
She concluded with
she's going on this whole narrative?
She concluded with the screed.
Dale, is that true? I just asked
She concluded the screed with, so manipulative on her part, she should be ashamed of herself. This was in, I assume, I'm just reading what they've given you. I have the same amount of information as you.
So she opened the conversation by sending him this article, and then he replied, wow, and then she went on this whole rant.
It appears.
How bizarre. What a strange... it's just why... Okay, well... it's funny because Lizzo today is getting dragged all over social media because she shared her thoughts about people who were named, who are not Epstein, and not being directly accused of wrongdoing. Like most of the names of people who are saying the most heinous shit are redacted. We don't know them. But there's other people in these emails that are being named, spoken about, third person, you know?
Yeah.
And Lizzo, like, so stupid. I don't know why she does this all the time. She puts her foot in her mouth. But she went on social media talking about how you can't make assumptions about those people who are just being talked about in the Epstein files. And, like, she has a good point, but, like, why is she even saying that? Anyway, she's getting dragged for it. But in this case, Soon Yi is in the Epstein files and certainly seems like she belongs there. Like, what the fuck?
I've got more important things, though.
You do?
Ready? Yeah, I have more important things. You ready for this?
Oh, what?
It's a message from Fel Baumling.
Okay.
This is off topic, but if you have the means, purchase a rain shower head if you can. I hooked mine up today and could have spent all afternoon under it. Flex LOL.
Is that an ad?
That sounds so great. It is. I can almost feel it on the back of my neck right now.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what it actually feels like, but it's amazing. If that makes any sense. Well, thank you for that. I have to do a commercial. This episode is brought to you by. You want to see my new button? Look at this. Oh, everybody watch the screen. Oh yeah, look at that. Shit. It's a high class operation.
I don't know that it always works for you to be like, okay, watch.
This is my first day with it. I get to do whatever I want. That is an amazing drop. Thank you for sharing that, Cosmic Urgency. I've long said you should just come on board as a writer for the show. Then you wouldn't be so upset at us all the time. Anyway, The Guardian, that was The Guardian reporting.
Yeah.
Thank you, Guardian. The Guardian. Appreciate you. I think I'll subscribe. Maybe encourage others too.
Yeah, I like The Guardian as a source.
Dude,
that's fucked up, man. That's so fucking dark. That makes me upset.
I had a kind of a shitty moment that I kind of regretted, right? Like, so this guy writes about me in The Guardian. He writes about me in Freedom's Plum. This is like before the book, like in the Freedom's Plum, kind of in the height of it, really. And he got it wrong. And I was all shredded up, I was like, I was depressed. I was heavily depressed.
Yeah, because he's sharing falsehoods.
Yeah, and I was depressed.
Publication.
So when it was in this state of mind.
Yeah.
And so I I hit him up on I don't know what it was, maybe it was Twitter or something, but social media or maybe a comment thread. I don't even know. But I hit the writer up with you just fucked this whole thing up. This is just such a mess. And it was his article was just absolutely lazy. And that's what bothered me because I'm right here and I'm easy to get to. Right. I'm sitting here shouting from rooftops, man. Right. It's I'm easy to find. And I'll even show up in your little, fucking web searches if you get specific enough, Melissa Jane's here, who, by the way, joined the Patreon.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you, Melissa.
What were you saying?
We've got fun stuff planned. I do. I can't wait. I feel like I'm about to kick into gear with this live and I'm really excited about it. What?
Were you in the middle of saying something and you interrupted yourself?
Yeah, well, I had to because Melissa Jane was here and I wanted to remember to thank her.
I can't remember.
But it was really important.
It
doesn't matter, whatever.
You were talking about The Guardian and how they printed a story about you.
Yeah. And I was just talking about how I regretted I reached out and I kind of barked at him because I was in this state of depression.
And you regret it?
And I do regret it because the guy got back to me. He goes I like the movie for whatever it's worth. Because it was I guess he'd watched the movie and then he he didn't say anything complimentary about the movie, which, if you like the movie, you could fucking give it the vote of confidence, Yeah,
you shouldn't feel bad at all for barking at him for getting his facts wrong in an article.
He's not making any friends,
Like if, that's, he needs to do journalism properly if he doesn't want to get criticized for bad journalism,
So Soon Yi was just, I guess, now look, it's all about to the extent of what people knew, but what these Soon Yi posts or the senior conversation at least implies or at least reasonably begs the question, was she okay with these grown men sleeping with these teenagers if that's the worst that she thought it was? 15, call it 15, since she's mouthing off about 15 there. And I don't know, was this after he was arrested? I don't know where the context is on these texts either.
I don't know what she thinks, but I just feel like it's got to be such a mind fuck to be groomed by a person who's supposed to be your parent, and then marry that person, and then watch them go through a scandal, scandal after scandal, right?
Yeah.
And have to, and she's entirely tied to him, and so I don't know whether, I don't know how that distorts somebody's thinking about these kinds of situations. You know, like every single one of these scandals has come directly into her home. You know, from the beginning. And not to mention, a lot of people who are adopted have a lot to deal with, to reconcile with their adoption story.
Right.
So she might feel very, very attached to the family that she has now, you know, with him, her partnership with him, everything that she has, you know. I don't know. Psychologically, I just feel like it sounds to me like there's a lot going on with her that maybe wouldn't be going on if she didn't attach herself to such a toxic person. He's like simultaneously an incredibly high achiever who's admired in his industry, you know?
Yeah.
And Woody Allen, and he's also simultaneously like the worst person in that industry.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just like, it's got to be a mind fuck. And so I think this is a result of her mind being fucked up.
I'm not going to argue with you about it. I mean, I think it's a totally plausible theory for sure.
I don't know what compels a woman to write like that.
It's very
to
strange.
somebody the likes of Jeffrey Epstein.
It's so cold.
I just feel like you've got to be sick. There's got to be some sort of illness going on, some sort of mental, emotional, some sort of traumatic, something fucked up.
I mean, it feels like
to turn
she
somebody
feels
into
complicit. Like that's like the thing just makes her sound complicit.
Yeah.
Like utterly complicit is where I'm going here. So I think we're on the same page.
Yeah, and actually, you know, it's nice to see that it's somebody who is being named in the Epstein files. If they get dragged for it, then they are actually deserving of the dragging.
Well, yeah, I mean, people, I know Lizzo, botched this up, but obviously, if you hear something, about somebody being, I can't remember who it was. There was another person who was brought up in I saw some click on it, or I saw some headline bringing somebody in that I was like, really? And then I clicked on it and I looked and they were mentioned comparatively. They're famous people being mentioned in an email between Epstein and I don't even remember who it was, but it was between Epstein and somebody. And in it, they did some kind of, or even they would have maybe it was anyway, the person wasn't involved that they were talking about.
Yeah. This is the case with,
so I immediately did not think that the person's name who was mentioned was at all involved.
Right.
I immediately knew that. It's pretty fucking easy, right? To do that, to see, oh, okay, this isn't anything at all. Mm-hmm. The person's not even involved. That seems easy to me.
No, it's just a bunch of criminals talking about somebody else. It's just mentioning them. They're not involved in their criminal enterprise at all.
Soon Yi is indeed a participant in to some degree in this fucking madness. And she's defending Anthony Weiner, who was a disgrace.
Yeah, fully
and a
comfortable
predator,
saying "fuck that lady."
Yeah, absolutely.
Why are you mouthing off about this kind of
It's
stuff?
so weird because Scarlett Johansson stands in in solidarity with Woody Allen.
That's very problematic.
And so now I wonder how she fucking feels now that she knows that these kinds of the conversations that Woody Allen's wife has, or is she having these conversations too? Because where does it go then? Do you know, where does it fucking go?
Yeah, it's also like Scarlett Johansson, she's trying to resist being guilty by association. So I think she's just tried to it's kind of to me, it seems like an easy choice, but I'm sure in Hollywood with all of the money and business that goes around all the time, it's more of a difficult choice.
Deanne also joined the crew. I thought you had, and I'll tell you, I got to do a better job of just reaching out to you guys because I also don't want to call people out by their names. Do you know what I mean? We had somebody who reached out to us who signed up, and they were like, "Please don't talk about it." I guess I just did it, but she was like, "Just don't talk about it."
No, you didn't. Just if you're not identifying anything.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I want to be cautious about it because some people don't want to be known as. You keep
your mouth shut.
You keep your fucking mouth. This is between you and me and the IRS. Do we understand each other? So thank you for joining the Patreon. That's really, really freaking generous. I'm so excited about everything going on. I can't wait till I start delivering it. Now it's just all talk, but I'm putting a lot of energy into it, and it's going to be great. I'm very, very excited about it because I'm trying to find a way to tie this all in together into production, into writing books, perhaps even making movies. Like I want this all to, I want to be able to, I want this all to be for, a higher artistic purpose. That's my goal. Lizzo is like me, says Cosmic Urgency. I think Lizzo needs to like be more thoughtful about how she explains her points. Like,
listen, it's the most relatable.
She angered me in a large way because she doesn't need to be reprimanding anybody in that fucking situation. Why are you reprimanding people in that situation? Calling people stupid instead of warning them of what's out there. Like her message could have been so much better served if she's saying to the people, look, don't be fooled. Be careful. You don't want to blame people who are, or do you want to start pointing fingers at people who had absolutely nothing to do with it, but for being mentioned in some email or other communication? So it's important, I beg you, to make sure you understand who's being actually accused of being involved with Epstein, rather than somebody being on the periphery and not knowing what's going on and finding themselves caught at the end of at the edge of the web. Like, just be fucking like, and put out the caution. Like, don't you think so? Don't you think it's better to like try to help people avoid the problem instead of like calling them down? And like, she's telling us how disappointed she is in the intelligence level of fucking the United States of America instead of just educating. Like, just fucking educate. Like, you're in a position right there and you're influential, and she's going to sit there and reprimand. And like, maybe that's something that she's dealing with. Maybe that's something that she's got to get through with her therapist. I don't know. But I thought it was a shit way to go about it. Personally, I would have really preferred somebody who's influential, potentially influential, to be able to, step up and say, hey man, be cautious, be careful. I'm here to protect you. The fuck is wrong with being a shield instead of being a fucking, a scolder, like what is... be my shield, lady. Help me, man. I ain't paying attention. I'm driving a car in a different direction.
You're so hyped about this.
It really does bother me because it's like these are moments to shine, or these are moments not to shine, or where you fall flat, or you like, I just think it looks bad. I think people are wrong, are probably angry at her for the wrong reason in this situation. For me, the real reason is don't talk down to the people. Who the fuck are you? It's good that you're aware. It's good that you're contributing. I'm not arguing any of that. You listen to the full context of her message, and she overall has something good to say, even if she kind of trips over her fucking ankles doing it. That's how I feel about it, and I'm signing off.
I always find it kind of a relief every time a celebrity says something dumb on the internet, because I find it to be extremely relatable. Yeah. It's kind of comforting.
But I know what cosmic urgency means, by the way, when he says Lizzo's like me, because he's got that like sort of like no nonsense, like kind of way about him. Don't you think?
Yeah, the thing about Lizzo that was so stupid was that she was right, but she kept supporting her point by making really, really dumb analogies. And she gave everybody everything they need to just completely misunderstand her. Yeah. She was making a really convoluted point by making analogies. Like she said, she's talking about the Epstein files. And then she said, if somebody went to Walmart and stole an apple, does that mean everybody in their contact list is in a criminal conspiracy? No, nobody is saying that, Lizzo.
No,
nobody would ever make that comparison. Nobody's
even inferring that. There's absolutely, that is disconnected.
No.
From the whole thing.
What Epstein did was he had a whole network of co-conspirators. And so we are looking through his contacts to find his co-conspirators, because that's where they would be.
Are you reading
That is
any
not
of it?
comparable to stealing an apple from Walmart.
Cosmic's not wrong. He says, Dale, you reprimand on your lives. You're like Lizzo too. And
do you?
Listen, I think what I'm trying to say, and maybe I fault here as well, but what I'm trying to say is, what are you doing? Like, how much consideration and thought, how much forethought is going into it? Like, I'd like to believe, and I know that I'm a wildly imperfect person, and I'm not trying to play the Baldoni card here. I'm just saying that I know that I'm a wildly imperfect person. I get all that, but I ultimately try to speak with a fucking purpose and for the better good, for the protection of others. Like, I'm more interested in protecting people than I am of pointing out their shortcomings. I might go after an individual, but you wouldn't hear me talking down on America. You know, in fact, on this fucking live, you hear me talking up on America. You know, when I speak about Americans, I speak highly of Americans. I believe in them. You know, I've invested my entire fucking life in Americans and in America, you know, for whatever that's worth. And so, yeah, I just feel like it's like you could rise up in those situations and protect. She's in a position to protect. We're under attack.
Yeah.
You know?
Splishniss said, damn, Lizzo was totally about to get out of canceled jail. So dumb.
Yeah, it was a bad play.
Yeah, well, you know, I think that they're still litigating. In 2023, she was accused of sexual harassment by 3 of her dancers.
Yes.
And I don't think that that's gone away. I don't think that she's settled or anything.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it.
I think she
actually
intends to fight it.
I do remember that, you know, she's in the fight. And
I think that's pending.
She came back and, you know, spoke. She was
And
like
also,
body shaming and weird shit.
Yeah, just really weird shit.
We'll see what it is.
But then also, she released a record and did some promotion for it, and her songs weren't good, so nobody picked it up.
Oh, man, that record, man. Well, I don't know. I heard like 2 songs, and I checked out of that thing in a hurry.
Yeah.
It sucked because like that first one was a bumping fucking record. You know, she had a ride going, and then...
So she's trying to reinvent herself, clearly, at this point in her career. But it's not going to work if she is scolding people on the internet. I don't know why she feels like that fits into her.
It's just such a great opportunity. Like, I just think
if
you're famous, like the other thing is like he says like I'm like Lizzo. Well, except I don't have an audience. I mean, that's not to offend anyone here. I'm saying like I'm talking like a broad reaching audience, right? And I'm not here to influence you guys. You guys do more influencing on me than I would ever on you. I would think that's how I feel about it. My personal experience here is that you guys are. You know what I'm saying? What's I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Want to see my button? I made it today. Look at that shit. Look at that high. I know it's still, people don't appreciate what this is. See, because like everybody else has OBS, which is like the software. It makes it all that easy. Me, it's difficult. I got to run it through 2 different machines. I got to do some chroma key work. And then I get this result. Watch one more time. Then we'll move on. Watch. Look, everybody. Oh, look at that thing. Watch, I'll hit the bell there. I'm not even doing it. It's getting real, man. It's just getting real.
There's more brand advertising. There's more testimonials about things that people like. You know, we heard about the rain shower.
Yeah.
Shower head.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't get me. I'm going to get that Vortex fan out again.
Deanne said, I just got a weighted blanket and OMFG.
Oh, really? I've been thinking about them a lot. I have been thinking about them a lot.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And then
I got this pillow because I've been, these migraines. I've been getting these migraines. So I got a pillow to try to like stop my thing. It was like an expensive pillow. It was like I got like a discount and it was still $65 for one pillow.
But it's a good pillow, right?
It's a damn good pillow, and it's got me thinking. It's like we need to upgrade on our backs and our bones, man. You know, we're at that age now. I mean, I am. You still got a bit to go.
Speak for yourself, buddy.
Yeah, that's true. It's coming. It's coming.
I can still sleep on the couch and be fine.
You're on a fast-moving train, baby. Don't even think about it.
Fellbombling said, white noise alarm clock. I set mine for thunder shower, and I swear I sleep better.
Really? Mm-hmm. Huh. I had a former in-law who could not sleep without a fan on. Could not turn the fan off. Gone crazy. I have tinnitus, and I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, this is kind of like a built-in white noise thing. You fucking lay down, go to bed. It's a wrap. He'd probably enjoy it. He'd be like, I got tinnitus.
What was the sound that we were talking about? There was a study that said that you'll sleep better if you listen to a sound. What was that? I forget. I brought it up.
By the way, I think I got tinnitus from an Iron Maiden concert.
Oh, yeah, probably.
I'm not even kidding.
You don't recall what I've said?
Say it again.
No, I mean, before, when I was talking about a sound that helps people sleep. What was it?
I don't know.
I can't remember either.
Anyway. Right.
All Scientist said, my current white noise is the kitten screaming because he still needs to be locked in a separate room at night for a couple more weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cosmic said what happened to Taylor's album. She's given up on promoting it after the bad reviews. It's her best-selling record. What's that record called again?
How long is she supposed to promote it? I mean, it's not a new record anymore, right? I mean,
no. She'll promote it into next year. I think she's probably going to promote it into the next year's award season because it was late for this one. Taylor Swift's top selling album.
Splishness said, I am incapable of hearing someone say Anthony Weiner without giggling. I always thought it was really impressive that he didn't even flinch. He wasn't like, hi, my name is Anthony Weiner and I'm running for office. No, he was like, it's pronounced Wiener. Get it right. You know?
Yeah.
It's so strange.
Let's see. What's that? What's her latest album? What's it called? Songs of Ophelia?
No, that's
No. What's it called again?
Life of a Showgirl.
Life of a Showgirl.
Oh, a scientist said that Baldoni fans are making a huge deal about Lively being on a list of celebrities that were invited to an event that Epstein was being invited to. So they're saying that she's in the Epstein files.
Melissa Nathan literally worked with him.
Yeah, there's emails. I think it might not be as serious as I assumed, but Brianna Kozlow. No, wait. Is that her? Yeah. Brianna Kozlow, she goes by Brianna Butler in these emails, but she worked for TAG at the time, and she is trying to coordinate with him how many +1s. I think he has like +3 or something to an event. So it's unclear whether she's working with Epstein or whether she's just emailing back and forth about an RSVP and like not working with them. So we don't know.
Oh, so Life of a Showgirl was the #1 selling album last year. It sold 7.5 million copies and it was released on October 3rd. So from October until whatever, and I still haven't bought my copy yet.
On vinyl?
No, I'm gonna get it.
There's like 20 different ones. How are you gonna choose? You're just gonna
I'm gonna
collect
get the
them
banana
all?
one, I think.
The what?
Banana one. Is there a banana one? Maybe there's a pineapple one. I could do that. Better get to work. Hey,
What?
let me tell you something, man. That was a good one. Thank you, Cosmic, again for that Woody Allen story. I appreciate it. It was something I would definitely want to know about. And yeah, I was out of the loop today, man. I'm going to be out of the loop for about a week, but I'm going to start the second edition of Too Real, a Hollywood Memoir on Patreon. It's going to be a super good time, man. It's going to be a really good time. And then every week, I don't think I got
A
this
good time? Will there be snacks?
Well, I'll probably have a snack or two, and you're certainly welcome to bring your own. Every week, I'm going to do a live stream with the membership. Whoever shows up, if nobody shows up, that's fine too. Mm-hmm. I'll just sit there and like be like the lemonade stand.
Yeah,
but it's like a lemonade stand
at the end of a cul-de-sac
with an actual like 56-year-old man sitting on a little fucking stool outside his little lemonade stand. But I'm going to do live streams that are going to kind of like talk about the week, what I went throughout the week in terms of like, the craft, not personal, but the craft, just the craft. What I was dealing with, what I learned about my writing. I'm really excited because I started rereading the book, and I love the book. I think it's a great book. I'm still proud of it, but there's a bunch of stuff that I just want to fix. And it's not big. It's just not big stuff. It's just that, I just feel like we're always evolving. And I just evolved, and I'm ready to put it in this book and put out a second edition. But at the same time, of course, give me the opportunity to, do an audio version of the book.
Oh, yeah.
He said you've been out of the book loop for a month. No, I have not. It's not true.
Oh, he just says that because
Hanada's here.
reading.
Hanada joined the Patreon as well.
Guys are all in the club.
Yesterday. She's on the crew. You guys are all on the crew, even if you're not on the crew. You don't have to spend money to join, dude. You can just join. Obviously we want you to spend money so that we can make this live better. But if you can't spend money or you won't, you should still join because I am going to put I'm going to put up videos for them as well. We got some really cool shit that we're going to launch on there that I'm excited for. That just totally got inspired by the space itself. So hats off to Patreon for that. It really did create a space for me. I was like, oh shit, this is going to be cool. And then I suddenly like kind of dug in and had a good time.
The chat, folks in the chat are correcting me about, I was assuming that Brianna Kozlow was not working for Epstein, but was only helping him coordinate his attendance, some RSVP thing to an event. But the junk farm said she literally worked for his PR guy. That's Associated.
Yeah,
Manderley said, yeah, she worked for Hiltzik. Hiltzik worked for Epstein. So she can't say that she was never associated. She could say she never met him, but there's a lot of people that work for people that don't meet them.
Yeah, he's the CEO, he's the boss, he's the big muff or whatever, you know.
Manderley said that ex-patriarch and MJ, the lawyer, have been through the ringer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Deanne said Zach Peter is being revolting to ex-patriarch. So all the kids are fighting on TikTok, I guess.
Well, Zach Peter is
Instagram.
I can't believe that anyone gives a shit about what that guy has to say.
This is the thing, is like, you have to lash out when you're losing. They have nothing else to cover. I mean, there hasn't been a lot going on. They don't talk about politics.
They're creating their own drama now.
Yeah, they have to.
They're fucking screwed, man. We're listening. Listen, we've been reading every word of this. You've been a fucking amazing through the whole process, and you're like, I mean it.
You don't have to do that though.
And
I'm having a good time.
And we're reading this whole thing, and I think, my personal opinion, I'm not a lawyer. Somebody reminded me of that on one of the subs not too long ago. Gave my legal rating a 2. I don't know why they did, but they did, out of 10. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I think that's typical with non-lawyers.
I totally disagree with them, but I didn't in the chat. I was like, okay, well, I'm a filmmaker.
Yeah.
I'm a writer.
Right.
Not an attorney, and never claimed to be. But in my great laymaness, I would say this is a very this deposition has been devastating for them. Absolutely devastating. He admits to, and then he thinks that he's satisfied. He is satisfied. Baldoni is satisfied that the moments that he now has admitted were both complained about. This is the sexy comments and to both women on the same day. And but in his own words, he agreed that they were made in good faith, that these women believed that what he did was inappropriate.
Yeah, Gottlieb also got an admission from him that he did say what Isabella Ferrer claimed he said.
Yes.
When he said, I know I'm not supposed to say this, but that was really hot.
Exactly.
He was like, yeah, I said it being like a good director. I was trying to be supportive and
So they're telling the truth. The women have been telling the truth the whole time.
Of course they
They're just telling the truth. This is what they said. This is what but the point where I was going on this was that Justin Baldoni has basically said, oh, well, I apologized. We apologized. And not only did I apologize, but I went back and I stewed on it. I was like, oh shit. And then I went back, and the very next day I apologized again to Jenny Slate. Did he not? Was it the next day? Was it later that day?
Yeah, I think it was the next day. I can't remember. But yeah, he sent Jennifer Abel. No, I'm sorry. He sent Alex Sachs a text message to send to Jenny Slate, which was thoughtful, but it's weird in the context of him being the person who isn't changing and isn't making his set any safer. Are you with me?
Forever.
Thanks.
Hey, I hope this sounds better today. Let me just try it out. But today I did a whole tweak because after I blew it up, I went in and I listened, and man, you sounded great. You sounded fine. Like, I mean, my audio wasn't perfect. So I went into today, got the toolbox out. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Got my little screwdriver, my little wrench, and I started screwing and wrenching.
Do you like how it sounds?
Yeah, I don't know. I hope it sounds better. I put a lot of work into it. Oh, like an hour. Who do you think is responsible for the bad press Safdie is getting? Who's Safdie?
Oh, he deleted it. The Safdie brothers are the ones who are making these films. So I don't know which one of the Safdie brothers made.
Which film?
Marty Supreme is the newest one, but yeah. Uncut Gems was another of theirs. I don't know how the Safdie brothers are divided in their roles. I just remember them going by brothers, like the Coen brothers, you know?
I don't know. I haven't looked into this, Cosmic. I'll check into that, man.
Who do you think is responsible for the bad press Safdie is getting? People are saying it's dirty Harvey Weinstein-style throwback Oscar campaigning.
Oh my God, No Two Trolls is here. I was starting to wonder if she broke up with us. No, I wasn't. I'm totally kidding.
Well, I don't know about the Safdie brothers, but should we get started?
Yeah, I want to dig into that. Thank you for heads up on that. I'll look into that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make a note on I have a handy notepad right here. It's not as cool as my button. Yo, no trolls. Look at the screen. Watch my button. Check it out.
He's very proud of his button.
Look at this thing. Hey! Hey! All right. Responsible for bad press Safdie. Bad
About
press.
the Oscar campaign.
Oh, okay.
Did you give them another jump scare with Baldoni's picture today? Is that what you did?
Well, it was the man. It was man bun day.
Yeah. You were just feeling it?
I was feeling it. All right, guys. Angela,
Yes.
you're on. Do you have it?
Yeah,
You all
I
queued
do.
up?
Yep.
All right. This is the Justin Baldoni portion of the program, brought to you by Justin Baldoni. He's a great guy.
Okay, so last time we were reading through this, Justin Baldoni was being asked by Gottlieb, Lively's attorney, whether he believed Blake Lively's or Jamie Heath's description of the incident in the trailer. And Baldoni admits that he never even asked or tried to investigate Blake Lively's, whose claim was true. He didn't bother because they were really close. And he said that it was only until recently. He said, again, at the time, which was 2023, the versions were very close. They seem to be very different now. Okay? And it certainly would have helped. If the versions are different now, it certainly would have helped if he had done an investigation and documented the stories.
I'll never.
Right? Because you would be able to tell whose story changed.
From now to the end of the trial,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be amazed by that.
Yeah.
From now until the end of the
His
trial.
lack of foresight
I
about
just
how that
can't
might be
believe
useful.
he didn't like it was all there stirring in a bad way. And he was feeling like there was an attack. Oh my God, dude.
Steve Sarowitz said that he was going to spend $100 million to protect his company, but he didn't want to do the basic HR investigations to protect his company.
Yeah, $100 million spending it on people outside his own company when all he had to do was hire somebody internally to investigate and make determinations
And protect his company.
and
from
protect his company
litigation.
like anybody else would.
Yep.
And then if there is a litigation, you got paperwork, buddy.
So dumb.
It's just as stupid gets. You just can't believe these are the guys, fucking at the wheel. I just can't believe it. But it is what it is.
Lord, I have seen what you do for others, and I would like to be given this much. Resources and control over some
let some of this
artistic.
spill into my lap, bro. What we'll do,
We would never screw up like this.
anti-capitalist landlords and fucking come
Okay.
on.
Gottlieb's next question is, earlier we talked a little bit about the January 4th meeting in Miss Lively's apartment. So if you recall, in November, the Wayfarer people were sent her 17 lists of protections that she's requiring before she returns to work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And then they're expected to return to work and begin filming again January 5th. Okay.
Yes.
They had that long break because of the workers, the union strikes. So January 5th, they were supposed to return to work. Lively called a meeting with all these people in her penthouse the day before, January 4th, to go over these protections and just make sure everybody's on the same page. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Gottlieb says, earlier we talked a little bit about the January 4th meeting in Miss Lively's apartment. Do you recall that? Baldoni says yes. Question, you said you attended that meeting? And Baldoni says, I did. Gottlieb says, it was memorable? And Baldoni says, that's one way to put it. Gottlieb said, would you characterize it as traumatic? And Baldoni says, for me, would. I'm not sure if anyone else would.
Well, he did ask, would you? Mm-hmm. So.
Gottlieb said, I am only asking about you, sir.
You fool.
Baldoni says, yeah. During that meeting, did Miss Lively read a list from her phone? Baldoni says she did. Mm-hmm. Do you have a distinct memory of her reading a list of incidents or items from her phone to the group during that meeting? He said, I do. Okay. I'm going to mark the next exhibit, Exhibit 33. Mr. Baldoni, you've been handed what's been marked Exhibit 33. This is a document. Sorry. Have you had a chance to review this Exhibit 33? He said, I have. Do you know one way or the other, as you sit here today, whether this is the list that Miss Lively read from her phone during that meeting on January 4th? And Baldoni says, this is not the list that Miss Lively read from her phone. Gottlieb says, how do you know that this is not the list that Miss Lively read from her phone in that meeting on January 4th, 2024?
Yeah.
And Baldoni says, for one, she never used the wording, in quotes, no more. So that's how I know, first off. Okay. Gottlieb says, and you know that based on your specific recollection of how she spoke to you during that meeting? And Baldoni says, I know that because I was present and in shock of what I was hearing and paid very close attention to the words, and in quotes, no more was never used. It also says an updated list, so I'm not sure when it was updated. Okay, Gottlieb says, well, apart from your identification of no more, do you have any other reason to believe that this list is not what Ms. Lively read from during the meeting on January 4th, 2024? And Baldoni says, I think that's a big one. I mean, the fact that she never said no more shows it's not the same list. Gottlieb says, I'm asking if there's any other reason. And Baldoni says, yes, there are certain, I would say there's quite a few things in there that were not read or discussed that day. Gottlieb says, do you recall Miss Lively saying during the meeting that this was the worst experience of her life? And Baldoni says, I do. Do you recall her saying during the meeting that others had witnessed this behavior? And Baldoni says, I don't remember those exact words, no. Gottlieb said, do you recall the words creepy or abuse being used in reference to your behavior? And Baldoni says, I definitely don't remember the word abuse. I think I remember the word creepy. Gottlieb says, do you recall feeling embarrassed when Miss Lively was reading out these items? And Baldoni says, I think that could be accurate for one of the things I was feeling, yeah. Gottlieb says, I want to mark another exhibit. Before I go on, Mr. Baldoni, I can't remember if Ange Giannetti is one of those people whose depositions you listened to. Did you listen to that one? And Baldoni says, I listened to a part of it, yes. Did you listen to the part where she testified about the January 4th meeting? And Baldoni says, I'm unsure. Do you know one way or the other whether Ange Giannetti testified about whether this list, Exhibit 33, is what she remembered Miss Lively sharing during that meeting? And he said, I don't know. Would you be surprised to learn that Miss Giannetti testified this is the list that she remembers Miss Lively sharing? And Baldoni says, I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, Exhibit 34, Mr. Baldoni, you've been handed what's been marked as Exhibit 34, which is another text chain in the prayers and support text there we talked about. I think it was in Exhibit 32. This is he's talking about the catalog number. Go ahead and read it. This is a text chain on January 5th, 2024, with the prayers and support group that you testified about previously. And Baldoni says, it appears so. Question, and this is a WhatsApp group or is that a group just on your phone? And Baldoni says, I don't think it was WhatsApp. I think it was just a message. And this is the day after the January 4th meeting, right? And Baldoni says, it appears to be January 5th, correct. Question, Mr. Wilson is asking for an update at 6:20 p.m. Baldoni says, yes. And you respond, and he said, I certainly do. And in your response, Gottlieb is saying, you acknowledge that Miss Lively conveyed that you had made her feel unsafe. Is that right? And Baldoni says, essentially, that's what she said, yes. Gottlieb says, you say, and he's reading Baldoni's text, my brain was trying to defend itself when they were needing me to apologize for all the ways I have fucked up and made her feel unsafe. Is that right?
Wow. This is what he said in the prayer group?
Yeah, and Baldoni says that's what I wrote. Yes. Gottlieb says, and you disagreed with Miss Lively, I imagine? And Baldoni says, very strongly. Gottlieb says, but you understood very well her to be saying that you had made her feel unsafe, right? And Baldoni says, I understood that that's what she was insinuating by reading from this list.
Crazy.
Gottlieb says, okay, and you say here, you were, and he's reading this quote, read from a phone all of the things that I did. While many of them were based in actual situations, the events were wrong and things were taken completely out of context.
So they happened, and I have a different version of the story.
Yes.
Okay.
Many of them were based in actual situations, but the events were wrong, and things were taken completely out of context.
I called her toots.
I didn't say I like your tits. I said, I like you toots.
I said, I like your toots.
He's asked, do you see that? Baldoni says, I do. Question, and so were you saying here that the list includes a number of things and situations that occurred, but you disagree with the way that they were being framed and the context they were being placed in? And Baldoni says, yes, completely. Gottlieb says, you see here, in quotes, the word creepy and abused were used in reference to me and my behavior, end quote. Baldoni says, I do see that, yes. Gottlieb says, and you see a little bit later, you say that you were, and he's reading this quote from Baldoni, unable to respond. Mr. Heath did a beautiful job apologizing. You were embarrassed that you were unable to formulate the correct words to apologize and honestly feel like a bad person. Do you see that? And Baldoni says, I would beat myself up a lot, clearly. Apparently not enough. Okay. Gottlieb said, you said, and he's reading this quote from Baldoni, it's hard to feel so much of what they believe about me is false because they are so convinced that it's real. He says, do you see that? Baldoni says, I do. Did it occur to you that they might be right? And Baldoni says, no. Gottlieb says, did it occur to you that maybe some of the ways you had perceived how your actions had affected Miss Lively were inconsistent with how Miss Lively perceived your actions? And Baldoni says, can you ask that one more time? Because it's a hard question.
It's a hard fucking question.
Gottlieb says, did it occur to you that maybe you and Miss Lively did not share the same feelings about events that you both recognized occurred? And Baldoni says, I think it was very clear we didn't share the same feelings. My issue was with the actual events themselves. Gottlieb says, did it occur to you that certain events that you knew had occurred might have had a different kind of an effect on Miss Lively than they had on you? And Baldoni says, I'm not sure. Gottlieb says, you were told that this was the worst experience of Miss Lively's life? And Baldoni says, I believe I wrote that down, so. Gottlieb says, did that give you pause, Mr. Baldoni? And Baldoni says, in what way? Gottlieb said, in a way that you were making a movie about an important subject. It was important to you, consistent with the mission of your studio. You wanted to empower women and tell a story through a female gaze. And you had your lead actor, co-star, saying it was the worst experience of her life.
Gasp.
And Baldoni says, I found it very confusing.
I would be gasping for air.
He said, I found it very confusing. Mr. Baldoni, you've been handed what's been marked as Exhibit 35. Sorry. And I apologize if I've asked this before, but who is Travis Van Winkle?
Only the greatest name ever bestowed upon a human.
Travis Van Winkle.
Travis Van Winkle. He just sounds like...
I can't say it without smiling.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Baldoni says it's one of my best friends.
He's a Van Winkle.
He sounds like he's a best friend to everyone.
He's a Van Winkle. I was going to say, I mean... You know,
who doesn't like a Van Winkle, right? Okay.
They should have, it should have been, instead of Jesus.
Okay.
It should have been a Van Winkle.
Okay. Gottlieb says, so not a Wayfarer employee. And Baldoni says, not a Wayfarer employee. Question. And this is a text chain between you and Mr. Van Winkle on February 23rd, 2024. Is that right? He says, yes. All right. Take a minute, read through it, and I will ask you some questions. You've had a chance to read Exhibit 35. I have. This is your text exchange with Mr. Van Winkle. Baldoni says it is. At 11:15 a.m., which is on the bottom of the page in reference to Sony, you say, in quotes, he's quoting Baldoni, they just want the movie to do well, and they can't release a movie the star doesn't promote. Do you see that? He said, yes. That's very clarifying, don't you think? Sony just wants the movie to do well, and they can't release a movie the star doesn't promote. This seems like that's all that needs to be said.
So let's get to work.
Do you believe that was... you believe that was true, right? And Baldoni says, at one point, Josh had said Josh Greenstein, whatever, at Sony, okay? Yeah. At one point, Josh had said they would release it even if she doesn't, but my saying, in quotes, they can't. I mean, I'm just mincing words, but overall, they did not want to or suggest releasing a movie that a star wouldn't promote. Gottlieb says, sort of common knowledge, the studio doesn't want to release a film that the lead didn't want to engage in the promotion of, and Baldoni said yes. Gottlieb says, not a super controversial proposition, right? And Baldoni says, I don't think it would be. All right. Gottlieb says, that was true from day one, right? And Baldoni says, what was? Gottlieb said that if Miss Lively didn't want to promote the movie, it was going to be difficult to release it. And Baldoni says, I'm sure that was one of the reasons that Sony suggested her. What does that mean?
I don't know.
If Miss Lively didn't want to promote the movie, it was going to be difficult to release it. And he says, I'm sure that was one of the reasons that Sony suggested her.
Doesn't make any sense.
Why would they want to set up a trap like that for themselves?
I think he's contradicting that statement.
Yeah, I don't think he understands. Okay, next question. And it was one of the reasons you wanted her on the film, right? Because if Miss Lively promoted the movie would be more successful. And Baldoni says, I'm sure that was one of the reasons. Gottlieb said, because she's a star? And Baldoni says, yeah. Gottlieb continues, in fact, you recall having a conversation with Mr. Heath at the time that you were trying to bring Miss Lively on in December of 2022, where you and Mr. Heath say, and he's quoting, everybody loves Blake Lively. And Baldoni says, I don't remember that conversation, but I'm sure you haven't. Gottlieb said, would it surprise you if you had that conversation with Mr. Heath? And Baldoni says, I don't think it would. Gottlieb said, you thought in December of 2022 Miss Lively had a sterling reputation, is that right? And Baldoni says, I believe I did.
Wow.
I know.
Come on, man. Come the fuck on, man.
One that she cultivated for 20 years. It's fucked up.
And I mean, it wasn't perfect. Nobody's going to have a perfect fucking, perfect record, and she's made her mistakes, whatever. I mean, obviously she's a human fucking being, but
right.
This woman never went through life trampling on people.
You thought in December of 2022.
Probably didn't. I don't know. Probably.
Yeah, I don't know. Right. You thought in December of 2022 that Miss Lively had a sterling reputation. Is that right? And Baldoni says, I believe I did. Question. And that she was well liked by fans. Yes. And Baldoni says, yes, I believe I did. And the kind of person who could help drive box office success, right? And Baldoni says, yes, along with her husband and her best friend.
Wait, so wow.
Mm-hmm. He's talking about how he felt in December of 2022 when she signed on to the project.
So what the fuck are you talking about?
And the kind of person who could help drive box office success, right? And Baldoni said, yes, along with her husband and her best friend.
So he was putting that in the parcel.
He was thinking of the dragons before she ever mentioned them.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. That was part of his calculation, according to him.
Wow.
Okay.
So then when they appeared, he was like,
I don't know. It makes no sense, right? I don't know. I don't know what's true with this guy anymore.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Okay, question. And the kind of person who could help get the message, the important message of your movie out, right? And Baldoni says, yes, I hoped that would be a big part of it. Gottlieb says, so would you have disagreed in December of 2022 if somebody had said to you, Miss Lively has got a terrible, well-known reputation in the industry, nobody likes her? And Baldoni says, nobody told me that. Gottlieb said, if Katie Case or Brianna Coslow had told you that in December of 2022, had told you that in December of 2022, would you have found that very surprising? And Baldoni says, I don't think I can speculate on that. Okay. On the previous page at 11:01 a.m., you say of Miss Lively, and he's quoting Baldoni here in quotes, she had the nuclear bomb. If she doesn't promote the movie, she can leak that I'm a bad person or that she felt unsafe with me and all the stuff she has on me. Then she's the victim. It's the Taylor Swift playbook. So she can ask for whatever she wants because she knows I know. Do you see that? Baldoni says, I do. Did you mean that? And Baldoni says, what part of it? Gottlieb's like, all of it. Did you mean all of it?
What part of it?
Yeah.
What kind of question is that? You mean part that was woven in lies? What is going on here?
It is thick. And okay, Gottlieb says, did you mean all of it? And Baldoni says, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. He doesn't know.
You don't know if you meant what you said? Come on, bro.
He doesn't know anything.
Does he ask how he fucking feels about it right now? Does he mean it now?
Were you aware of any of the things that you're accused of? It's like, it's just...
He doesn't say, how do you feel now?
Is
this how you feel right now?
This is not the defense he thinks it is.
No.
I don't know what his play is, but it's really foolish. What you do is you come up with a believable lie, but you don't say you don't know. Okay.
It's just like when you take Blake Lively's deposition, what we've read of it, and you take this deposition... I mean, it is just an absolute devastation from my perspective. Again, I'm a non-lawyer.
I just can't believe
non-juror.
I can't believe that here's the thing, is that he didn't answer. He doesn't know in his deposition, but when he's being asked this at the trial, or this is being presented to a jury, somebody's going to have to explain.
Yeah.
She had a nuclear bomb. If she doesn't promote the movie, she can leak that I'm a bad person or that she felt unsafe with me and all the stuff she has on me.
Yeah.
Then she's the victim. It's the Taylor Swift playbook. So she can ask for whatever she wants because she knows I know. Okay. It sounds like retaliation to me. Okay. Gottlieb says, you had agreed to the conditions that Miss Lively asked for to return to set, right? And he said yes. And upon the return to production, so far as the production on the set went, things went pretty well, right? And Baldoni says, according to your own complaint, everything went great. Gottlieb says, any other incidents that you can think of after January 4th, 2024? And Baldoni says, no. So Gottlieb says,
it's so funny. He's like, according to your own complaint, I corrected the ship. I righted the ship.
Yeah. So listen.
Not until he got confronted to do so. Right. But once confronted,
and that was all easy to implement.
Once
right?
he realized that there were consequences, afoot or coming to bear.
Any other incidents that you can think of after January 4th, 2024? And Baldoni says no. And so Gottlieb asks, so what is all this stuff that Miss Lively had on you that constituted the nuclear bomb?
Please.
And Baldoni says, I don't know.
I don't know.
He ends this saying, so she can ask for whatever she wants because she knows I know.
What?
But he says, I don't know.
I don't know. So he's lying. He's just lying.
He's just lying.
He knew what he was saying.
Yeah.
He knew what he was thinking. He knows that it's not going to be good for him to say it.
He doesn't want to answer.
Because it's probably wildly untrue. It's probably a big fat fucking hallucination, like most of the shit going on in this poor fucker's head. This guy's head is busted. And I actually feel bad for him because his head is busted. He's not getting the therapy he needs. That I mean, I'm speculating. Of course, I don't know anything about his therapy. But if he is, it's not working. It's not fucking working. He needs like psilocybin or some shit because the dude is busted. He's busted, bro. And he's showing up here in this cloak of goodness, purity, love, spirituality.
But he doesn't know, nor does he recall what he meant when he wrote these really, really venomous things about Blake Lively to his friends.
And it's like it's like a cop out that's never going to fly for a jury.
No,
with a jury.
Never.
That you don't know.
No, they're just going to be like, okay, bud, you're a liar.
Yeah, exactly.
Case closed. Okay. Would the items on the list that Miss Lively read from in the meeting on January 4th you're referring to here? Okay, let me just back up. Okay, Gottlieb says, this is so great. So what is all this stuff that Miss Lively had on you that constituted the nuclear bomb? And Baldoni says, I don't know. And Gottlieb says, would it be the items on the list that Miss Lively read from in the meeting on January 4th that you're referring to here? And Baldoni says, I'm sure that was a part of it. So he did answer. Okay?
Right.
Are you with me?
Sort of.
You got to stay with me.
I'm trying. There's a lot going on. Somebody, Junk Farm said, or Dick Tickle. No, Trickle. Dick Trickle. When we're coming up with a Von Winkle? Yeah. He's like Dick Trickle.
Okay, but did you hear that?
No, I didn't yet. Start over.
Oh my God. Okay, listen. I'm going to do this for your benefit, but this is the last time.
The Walls is here, and I'm pretty sure the Walls has used to come here before. I don't think this is the first time. And it's just like, so I was just happy to see somebody.
You just tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Gottlieb says.
Yes.
So what is all this stuff that Miss Lively had on you that constituted the nuclear bomb?
Yeah.
Baldoni says, I don't know. Gottlieb says, well, would it be the items on the list that Miss Lively read from in the meeting on January 4th that you're referring to here?
Could it be?
And Baldoni says, I'm sure that was part of it.
Oh, was it?
Mm-hmm. Gottlieb says, is that what? Sorry, go ahead. And Baldoni says, no, please. Gottlieb says, is that what you were afraid of that Miss Lively might leak? And Baldoni says, I'm not sure what she was going to do. I was very in the dark. Because you know what?
I was alone.
You know what?
I was in the dark in my second of 3 mansions.
Yeah, I know. You know what's the thing that everybody says you should always do if you're in the dark? Is just start wildly thrashing. Right? Just start just going ham. You can't see around you. You have no idea what's going on. Just thrash. That's what he does when he's in the dark.
He does. He thrashes.
Instead of trying to feel around and get some information.
No, you're right.
Not Baldoni.
That's a great, what do you call that? An analogy? No.
Okay. I'm not sure what she was going to do. I can't. I was very in the dark. Gottlieb says, what else would you have been thinking of when you are referring to a nuclear bomb and you refer to her, Miss Lively, leaking, in quotes, I'm a bad person, or that she felt unsafe with me? And Baldoni says, I think when you're somebody small in the industry like myself, and you're dealing with a titan like Miss Lively, and some of the most powerful people in the world, which are her best friends, and you're in the situation that I was in, I think it's very reasonable, especially at this point, to be concerned about what's possible and what's not. I was spinning at this point.
God, bro, you just need to fucking... what we
Just
used to
chill
do
the
when we
fuck
were
out,
on
dude.
LSD when we were kids is we would just, when it's spinning,
Yeah, you
we
just
just
hold the
grab
wall.
the wall. Just grab the wall, buddy.
Don't do anything rash,
Just
bro.
hold the wall. You'd be like, oh, no, it's not actually.
It's not actually
It's not.
spinning.
And then as soon as you got a hold of the wall, the whole world opens up again. And you're like, oh, okay, well, this is actually kind of pretty.
Well, I was just freaking out over nothing.
Shit, that was just a big emergency over nothing.
God, this guy. Okay.
He needs to fucking grab the wall.
He needed to sit on his hands for a little bit. I don't understand why. Okay.
If you sit on your hands, you'll still spin.
Yeah.
You might even fall on your head.
Okay, thanks. That's good advice, Dale. Thanks. Gottlieb said, is there anything else that you can think of other than the material contained within the 17-point list, or the list that Miss Lively read from on January 4th, 2024, that as you sit here today, you might have been referring to when you referred to a nuclear bomb that could be leaked?
I mean, it's a nuclear bomb. I don't know what I was thinking. It's a nuclear bomb. You called it a nuclear bomb.
I don't recall.
It's not it's not even a hellfire or whatever
I
you
don't
call
even
it.
know what I was.
It's a nuclear bomb. But
I was
don't
in
know.
the dark. I was spiraling.
It's a big, giant, nebulous nuclear bomb.
Baldoni says nothing about the 17-point list, but I assure you that that list that was read to me contained complete fabrications of the truth. So I very well could have had that be a part of what I felt scared of, lies. But I didn't know. I didn't know anything. I knew that at this point my gut feeling was that she was going to take over the film. Gut feelings, folks. That's what he's going on.
He the whole time it's intuition.
Yep.
It's gut.
Never
feeling,
materialized.
It's,
His paranoid delusions are what he's going on.
Inferences galore. This guy has an inference
Now that he
tree
knows what the
in his backyard. It's like a big giant inference tree.
Yeah, now that he knows what the allegations are, he's admitted that they're truthful, and so all of this paranoia was for nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now we think he's a bad person because he did all the things as a result of these bad feelings, right? It's like it was his self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
He brought about the eventuality he was worried about her bringing about. Congrats, dude. Real pro work here. Okay, Gottlieb said, lies. When you say lies.
Lies.
Can you imagine in the deposition? If he
Lies.
like slammed his staff into
Yeah.
the ground.
The table goes.
Exactly. Gottlieb said, lies. When you
That's
say,
how I write a screenplay. I go, and the table goes.
you're like, how do you spell that shit?
Yeah, he's a bunch of R's and K's and stuff.
When you say lies, you mean lies insinuating that you had made Miss Lively feel unsafe? And Baldoni says, no, that's not what I mean.
Well, what do you mean, sir?
Gottlieb's like, I'm trying to get what you mean.
Why don't you fucking say what you
can
mean?
Participate.
Yeah. All you have to do is say what you mean, and then we could have clarity.
He said, no, that's not what I mean. Gottlieb said, lies insinuating that you had sexually harassed Miss Lively? And Baldoni says, no, I'm speaking about lies in general.
You know, like the world is flat. What are you talking about?
He doesn't know. Because they weren't lies. That's why.
What's he talking about? What is there?
He's like, I was just worried about lies just generally because he couldn't think of lies specifically. Because nothing she was saying or had on him, like he said, she knows that I know, right? None of that was false. None of those were lies. He was assuming she might make up lies, which she never did. And he acted as if she was going to destroy his reputation with lies, which she didn't. And he ended up destroying his own reputation in the process.
Yeah.
I just think it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay. Gottlieb says, you're the co-head of Wayfarer Studios, are you not? Baldoni says, I'm the co-chairman. Gottlieb says, the co-chairman of Wayfarer Studios, but the executives answer to you and Mr. Sarowitz? And Baldoni says, the executives answer to our CEO, and our CEO reports to me and Sarowitz.
Get that straight. Like, I don't have time for them other people? I guess they're people.
Underlings.
Underlings, thank you. That's more fitting. I don't have time for these underlings. I have to sit and mope.
Listen, I have another mansion to purchase, and it's just a lot.
We are renovating our one of our houses while living out of the other. It's impossible.
And I'm spinning, and I'm in the dark. Okay. Gottlieb said, and you testified earlier that you could fire the CEO if you wanted to. And Baldoni says, I imagine I could do. Yeah, I imagine I could. And Gottlieb says, and it's Mr. Sarowitz's money that financed this particular project. Is that right? And Baldoni says, co-financed.
Do you hear that, people? Oh man, these people show up fucking in our comments and stuff. And they like we have like people who absolutely loathe us and watch us like.
Isn't it interesting?
They can't
what
stand us.
What a strange way to conduct
and
their lives.
But they show up in like different videos and they're all mad at me and yelling at me and calling me names, calling me old and shit.
But they're like keeping tabs on us.
Yeah.
They hate us, but they stay.
And you know, one of them showed up just the other day and started shouting at me about, you know, how I should know better that the distributor didn't put in the money. The money was put in by Justin Baldoni.
Got it. Co-financed. Gottlieb says co-financed. Baldoni says yes.
Co-financed, yeah. Meaning two financiers. One of them, not Blake Lively, and the other one, Justin Baldoni.
Yeah. Gottlieb says, if you had wanted to, you could have just decided not to go forward with the movie, right?
Yeah.
And Baldoni says, at what point? Gottlieb says, at any point. Baldoni says, not necessarily.
Yeah, there's a point where you can't because you're in pay or plays.
Yeah, you'll get sued.
As soon as you pay or play, you'll lose all the money.
Question. As of February 23rd, 2024, could you have pulled the plug on the movie? And Baldoni says, I don't believe so. Question. Even you don't believe that you could have done so without inviting litigation? Is that what you're saying? And Baldoni says, I believe this was the biggest project that we'd ever invested in, ever had. And we had a tremendous amount of money invested in it. And so did Sony, who were our partners. So we had an obligation, a fiduciary obligation to Sony and to Steve's family to not pull out of the film. And Gottlieb says, to not lose the money. And Baldoni says, it wasn't just about the money. It was one of the major factors. Yes. Gottlieb says, okay, but nonetheless, you're the co-founder of the studio, right? Baldoni says, yes. You're the director of the film, right? Baldoni says, yes. You are the co-lead actor, right? Baldoni says, yes. You're an executive producer, right? And Baldoni says, at the time I was. That is a lot of accumulated power on one.
You're like that fucking scout with all the fucking badges.
Yeah, right.
That you just like, you're like, I'll never achieve that. I have to leave. You have all the badges. I'm never going to get any badges. I have no point in being here except maybe to eat the cookies.
Gottlieb says, and that is a lot of accumulated power on one movie, is it not? And Baldoni says, it is. And also, I don't think it's unusual. Gottlieb said, is that the typical arrangement that you're familiar with? And Baldoni
One guy does it all.
Huh?
One guy owns it all.
Yeah, wears all the hats. Baldoni says, I wouldn't say it's a typical way. Gottlieb says, it's not typical. It's also not unheard of. Is that what you're saying? He says, yeah. And you knew that accumulation of positions gave you a lot of power over the movie, didn't you? And Baldoni says, I don't believe I thought of it that way. Gottlieb says, did it make you...
That wasn't the fucking question. The question was you knew.
Yeah.
And it's just, I just wish you'd have stuck with that question because it's like, you know, it's not about what you thought. It's about what you knew. Did you know that you were the fucking most powerful guy in the room?
Yep.
Or not?
You knew that accumulation of positions gave you a lot of power over the movie, didn't you? And Baldoni says, I don't believe I thought of it that way. Gottlieb said, did it make you mad that Miss Lively had power in the context of the production of the film? And Baldoni says, did it make me mad that Miss Lively had power? No. Gottlieb says, do you recall ever having a conversation with any representatives at WME before Miss Lively was signed onto the film about the conditions and the demands that she was making in advance for coming onto the film? And Baldoni says, I don't recall a specific conversation. Gottlieb says, do you recall ever drafting content that you wanted to communicate to WME that you shared with Mr. Heath on December of 2022? Baldoni says, I don't, but I'd be happy to see it. Do you recall ever saying, in quotes, I discovered this book?
Six million copies sold, and he was given to it was given to him by a person that he hires to go and find books to get him, and they didn't even bring him something obscure. They brought him like, hey, I found this one.
No.
Like when you walked into when you walked into the Barnes and Noble of store, it was fucking
in the front.
right in your face. Yeah, as you walk in the fucking room.
I think he said that his wife was reading it, and he picked it up.
I remember it differently, but
she discovered the book?
Either way, right? Yeah, I mean, come on.
Okay. Do you recall ever saying, I discovered this book? And Baldoni says, I don't recall. Gottlieb is asking,
But gravity.
What?
Gravity, on the other hand.
Gottlieb asks, in quotes, I control this film? And Baldoni says, I don't recall. Gottlieb says, did you discover the book? And Baldoni says, did I discover the book? The book was given to me by my book agent.
Told you.
Oh, you're right. Gottlieb says, did it turn It Ends With Us into a success as a book? I'm sorry. I screwed up. Let me read this. Gottlieb is asking, did you turn It Ends With Us into a success as a book? And Baldoni says, no, not me singularly.
You didn't have fuck all to do with it, bitch. First of all, here's what happened. The book sold 6 million copies. Then, when it was announced that it was going to be a movie, it ends with from the moment that it was announced that it was going to be a movie until its premiere, or maybe it was actually after the premiere. I'm not exactly sure, but 2 more million books were sold after the announcement.
But it sold 6 million before he announced it.
So it has a total. Like, look it up. Let's look it up right now. Let's do this fucking investigative reporting. Here we are. 2 real live investigative reporting.
I don't think this detail is that important. I think I'm going to continue.
Okay. Yeah, you can.
Okay. Gottlieb says, did you turn It Ends With Us into a success as a book? And Baldoni says, no, not me singularly. And Gottlieb says, did you play a substantial role in it becoming a success as a book? And Baldoni says, I'm sorry, I thought you said movie. The book, I played no role in it becoming a successful book. Gottlieb says, okay, that was Colleen Hoover, right? And Baldoni says, completely. So he got the question wrong. It wasn't that he was taking credit. I reacted prematurely before he corrected himself.
Yeah.
Okay, Gottlieb says...
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't believe he would be taking credit. I mean, it's stupid.
Gottlieb says, Mr. Baldoni, you've been handed what's been marked as Exhibit 36. Exhibit 36, this is a text chain between you and Mr. Heath on April 27th, 2024. You're having a discussion here with Mr. Heath about the trailer. And Baldoni says, if it's okay, I'd love to read it. I haven't seen it.
Me too.
Gottlieb says, I understand that this is a very personal exchange you had with your friend, Mr. Heath. And Baldoni says, it is. Gottlieb says, and a moment of vulnerability and candor, right? And Baldoni says, yes. He knows how to build up the anticipation. Gottlieb said, you're talking in this exchange with Mr. Heath about frustrations that have been building for you and culminating in the construction of the trailer. Is that right? And Baldoni says, I believe so, yes. Gottlieb says, and you say a series of things to Mr. Heath, and that causes Mr. Heath to get a little bit upset. And Baldoni says, that's a pattern that we have together. We tell each other the truth, and we get shit out. And then we come back to each other. Gottlieb says, and then Mr. Heath, and then Baldoni cuts him off to continue. He's always a voice of reason for me. And Gottlieb says, sorry, Mr. Heath, I think wisely advises that you both sleep it off and come back tomorrow, right? And Baldoni says, he's a wise man. Question. And when you do come back, you apologize to Mr. Heath for what you were saying the night before, right? At 2:23 p.m. on the 27th. And then he's pointing out the page. Baldoni says, yeah, I believe we could sum it up that way. Question. And what you say is, you've just come out of therapy and you're purging shit out and exhausted. And then you say, and he's reading Baldoni's quote, so much fear of Blake coming out and going public about how I'm a bad person and unsafe and not who I say I am. Do you see that? Baldoni says, I do. Question. And that's similar language to the fear that you described to Mr. Van Winkle in the document that we just looked at a few minutes ago from February, right? He says, I believe so. Gottlieb says, you were very concerned that Miss Lively would go public with some of the materials or allegations that had been contained in the 17-point list and in the list you read on January 4th, right? And Baldoni says, again, I disagree with anything to do with the 17-point list. But he didn't a minute ago.
No, he was already asked if he felt like all of the things
He said they
that
were reasonable.
in there were reasonable, and he agreed that they were.
Weird. Okay.
So,
Gottlieb says, but you think it might have referred to items that were in the January 4th list? And Baldoni says, I'm sure I had feelings about the lies that I felt were in the January 4th meeting, but I think it's a very reasonable feeling that I'm expressing here. Gottlieb says, Mr. Baldoni, was the thought of someone saying publicly that you are not who you say you are one of your biggest fears? And Baldoni says, I think based on where I was emotionally in my healing journey therapy at the time, in going through this film, I would imagine that was a fear, yes. Gottlieb says, and that's what you're referring to here to Mr. Heath, isn't it? With your reference to the little boy that you're so intertwined with? And Baldoni says, I'm just out of therapy and clearly not very sober in terms of my emotional state. So I was extremely sensitive and vulnerable and clearly in a very dark place at that moment. Gottlieb says, I understand, and I'm sorry to press you on it, but you're saying to Mr. Heath, I think, particularly in this carryover message at 2:33 p.m. on the 27th, that your personality is being overrun by this little boy who feels scared and threatened. Is that what you're conveying to Mr. Heath in this message?
Fuck, man. Like,
And Baldoni says, no.
I'm glad he's not my friend. Or was never my friend.
The amount of emotional labor that you have to hoist over your shoulders every fucking day dealing with this guy.
Oh, my God.
That's why he keeps Heath around.
Yeah,
who else is going to do it?
Like, he sits there with that odd smile of his and says, yeah, I got you. I got you, little boy. He rubs his leg.
Yeah. Anyway, the answer is no. Gottlieb says, that's not what you meant by, and he's reading this quote from Baldoni. He's been running the show when he feels scared and threatened, and that's who you get so frustrated with. Baldoni says, so he's literally referring to like a alternate personality that Heath has to deal with?
It seems so.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, it might as well be, right?
Baldoni says, what I meant by that is, in moments of intense emotion, in moments where I'm short or can get angry very quickly, in those moments, I believe that is the little boy in me that doesn't feel safe. And it's in those moments, like the moment I just read, watching the way that I was even texting him, almost with like a frantic energy. It feels like a little kid. And in those moments, it feels like that boy is in charge. It's not literal by any means. Gottlieb says, but that feeling, which I recognize as a figurative description of your internal process, is what you're describing to Mr. Heath occurred to you emotionally the night before, right? And Baldoni says, I can't say exactly. Gottlieb says, and that feeling, or the little boy, or however we described it, was able to make you behave towards your best friend and the CEO of Wayfarer Studios in a way that you clearly regretted the next day, right? And Baldoni says, I think this is a very normal conversation for best friends who have been friends for as long as Jamie and I have, to have an outlet or a safe space to be angry and then to come back. I think marriage is a place like that, and I think friendships like mine and Jamie's, which I to this day feel so lucky to have, where you're not judged for moments where you're oversensitive or emotional, or you can say stuff you don't mean and come back later and not be judged.
Like, I called him the N-word once, and he was totally okay with it.
Baldoni says, that's what I meant. Gottlieb said, all right. Thank you, Mr. Baldoni. We're going to go off the record.
I really like what you're wearing today, bud.
You got a discount code for that? What do you think about that, babe?
What? What do I think about what?
About it, the little boy.
Oh, come on, man. This guy is just overloaded with fucking... This
Here's
guy
the thing.
This guy is the problem.
Here's what I think.
He's his own problem. He has no idea of that fact, and nobody's supporting. There's nobody there to save him from himself, and instead they're supporting him in this utter delusion that surrounds him. He literally asked for, or believed that he was getting as a package deal, Lively and Two Dragons, And then when he got them, he made a doopsie in his pants and ran scared away.
So weird.
He took it as a threat.
That's a weird way to put that. I appreciated that.
As soon as it came out, I was,
I like it.
sometimes I want to go with doopsie.
Here's what I think about it.
Yeah.
I think that we are seeing that Baldoni has a real hair trigger reflex for scapegoating. So much so that when he, on his own, by himself, on his own cell phone, texting his best friend in life,
Yeah.
treats him badly, he has to scapegoat what he imagines to be a little boy who has run amok inside his mind or emotions or whatever. He has to scapegoat even behavior he does himself by himself. He can't, for some reason, he can't understand accountability or any sort of. I think here's the thing. I think Baldoni talks a lot in his memoir about shame, and he follows. He quotes Brene Brown, who's done a lot of work advising people to public speaking and stuff about shame and how toxic it is.
Okay.
And what she's referring to very clearly is the shame about who you are and whether you feel like you're not good enough or you don't measure up or whatever. A lot of times she talks about, gender issues and stuff like that, people being ashamed of their sexual preference or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
What Baldoni seems to have applied that to is he resists feeling shame for the things that he's actually done to harm other people. Or if he's acted like an asshole, he resists feeling shame about that. And I think one of the ways that he does that, as evidenced by this, is that he wants to scapegoat anything and everything but himself.
Yeah.
Like, he came back the next day and he should have felt shame if he felt like he was mistreating his best friend in life, right? If he talked badly to him, he should have been like, hey man, I apologize. That was fucked up of me. I acted badly. But instead he's like, who you were talking to yesterday that treated you so badly was a little boy that I just invented to blame instead of me.
Yeah.
Like, he's just allergic to accountability. I don't understand how
funny.
somebody gets like that. Anyway, whatever.
Accountability allergy.
It's a fucking head case.
I have it now. I go into what do you call it?
Anaphylactic?
Anaphylactic shock.
When somebody's trying to make you accountable for your behavior?
My throat starts to close and I start dying.
But if you scapegoat somebody, you feel much better.
Oh yeah, it's like getting
like instant remedy.
It's like eating a Benadryl just in time.
Okay, should I continue or do you want to?
Yeah,
okay.
Please.
This guy's weird. Okay. Gottlieb says, Mr. Baldoni, we are looking at what's been marked as Exhibit 37, same as we were before the break. And this is a message where you sent to this is a message that you sent to Alex Sachs, Ange Giannetti, Mr. Heath, Mr. Kaloff, and copy to AJ Marbury. This is on February 20th, 2023. Who is AJ Marbury? Baldoni's taking a second to read. He said, I'm sorry, I'm still finished reading. Gottlieb says, okay. You sent this email? And Baldoni says, I did. Gottlieb says, it was an apology to the group? And Baldoni says, yes. And especially to Alex Sachs? And Baldoni says, yes. Who is AJ Marbury? And Baldoni says, my former assistant. Gottlieb says, you talked about this apology in a talk you did with Jane Randolph from No More a month later in March of 2023. Is that right? And Baldoni says, I don't know. Gottlieb says, you said here, and he's reading a quote, over the last few months, I haven't been the safest place for myself. And in that, energetically, I feel I've failed at being a safe place for others. Do you see that? I'm just going to say, I absolutely detest that kind of therapy speak.
Yeah.
It really fucking irritates me.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I'm just too much of like,
Too jaded.
Too jaded. Maybe I just think I just lived in Los Angeles for too long to deal with these kinds of people. But when you say that you're a safe space for people,
Yeah.
I'm a safe space. No, you're fucking not.
No.
Make space for things like
can just. It sounds more like a manipulation. It sounds like somebody trying to manipulate.
I mean, coming from him, it does because we see his character and the way he behaves. I think most people that use this kind of speak, they just don't know how else to phrase it, so they use this like very therapy coded speak. But it does sort of seem insincere. It's not. I don't know. It's just it rubs me the wrong way. Maybe that's my problem. Okay.
He's a self-flagellator.
Gottlieb says, you said here, over the last few months, I haven't been the safest place for myself. And in that, energetically, I feel I've failed at being a safe space for others.
Those kids, bro.
A safe place for others.
Those kids are being raised by this fucking guy. Ugh.
Oh, they probably think he's the greatest. It's not
Family meeting. Feelings. I'm having these feelings. And we're going to, they love them now. They're kids. They're little kids.
Yeah.
They're in the idolization. My father beat me as a kid and I still loved him.
Yeah.
Because he was the only thing I had. He was the big duck, you know?
Yeah.
I was just a fucking duckling going, where are we going? To the water? What are we doing?
But when they're older, they're going to be like...
They're going to figure it out. They're going to be like, Dad's crazy. Dad is fucking crazy.
The other sibling will be like, you think so too? I thought I was alone this whole time.
Dude.
Because we can't talk about anything. Because he gets so upset.
Why does he hug me all the time?
I don't know, man. I'm not going to talk about how he parents. You know, he's probably great. Okay.
Hey, listen, he might be a great parent, but if this is the stuff going into his parenting, which it sounds like it has to, because it's his makeup, that is terrible fucking, that is like a minefield for a kid to have to fucking navigate. There's complex psychological issues with this guy, bro.
I know people like this.
He's talking about this little, you know, he's probably the kind of person who puts his children at his, you know, at his level, you know, like we're all equal. You're just in a smaller body and a smaller mind. But the truth is like you just have to act. We just have to open up the doors, like talk. You know, I mean, I think he's potentially a dangerous parent if this is his psychological.
If he
makeup.
deals with criticism really, really badly, then he'll end up producing kids who are like people pleasers.
Yeah.
Who like don't want to ever upset anybody because they get punished or manipulated for it.
You know, kids are fragile, bro. Our brains are fragile as fuck. And
I know.
And you know, I am the person I am today. And you know, and with all of my idiosyncrasies, to I guess put it lightly, as a result of my parents and how they and what I grew up with. Mm-hmm. And as a kid, I had no idea that I felt like I was normal and everybody else was probably the same as me.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and then you like grow up and you're like, oh, really? Oh, wow. They loved you. They cared. They gave you get lunch every day.
Your parents ask questions about you? What is that like?
You went on a vacation? A vacation?
Weird.
Yeah.
You know, nobody's exempt though. You end up with weird other problems, you know?
Hey, listen, man, I just wish him the best. It's just a bummer for them if he's this like, you know, constantly out of body human being. You know, if your dad is afraid of his own fucking shadow, he's not going to lend you a lot of resources emotionally and intellectually and philosophically. Like his philosophy, it just seems dangerous to me. You know, it seems like a dangerous philosophy to be trading off or to be teaching children to live in the way in which he proclaims, some of it at least. It's just, you know, because he's separated from everybody. He just doesn't sound like he's walking on the same plane as any of us half the time. It just sounds like everywhere he is, he's in this bubble.
He's a fascinating character.
He is.
And I think it's one of the reasons why I'm so interested in this case is because I feel like watching somebody like this have a downfall that is entirely predictable and avoidable is just tantalizing.
Yeah.
It's like a show where, it's just, I wish him the best. I don't know how it's going to get any better for him if he doesn't see what's right in front of the rest of us.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
Very strange.
It's wild.
Okay. Back to this? Or
Yeah.
no? Okay. Gottlieb said he's reading the text message that he sent to this list of people. Who is it? Alex Sachs, Ange Gianetti, Mr. Heath, Mr. Kaloff, and he copied his personal assistant, AJ Marbury. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Gottlieb says, you say here, and he's quoting, over the last few months, I haven't been the safest place for myself. And in that, energetically, I feel I've failed at being a safe place for others. Do you see that? And Baldoni says, I do. Did you think that you had failed at being a safe place for others in the last few months? And Baldoni says, I think it was being very hard on myself here.
Oh, you're so brave.
Gottlieb says, okay, does that mean that you were being dishonest? And Baldoni says, no, but as I sit here today and I read this, I feel I was disproportionately hard on myself.
I need to give myself a break. Hey, you know what, Justin? It ain't so bad, and you ain't so bad.
You're just a little boy stuck inside a grown man's body.
It's tough.
Gottlieb
Circumcised, by the way, just in case you were curious. If there was any curiosity about that, I am a circumcised.
Just want everybody in this text thread to know.
I had it when I was young. I didn't really consent to it, but I'm okay with it. It worked out really well.
Okay, listen.
Just telling everyone so people can feel safe.
Because that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Gottlieb says, okay, you talked about how in a meeting that you had recently with Miss Sachs and Miss Gianetti and Mr. Kaloff, Mr. Heath, you had interrupted and mansplained something as it relates to abuse and data and statistics to Miss Sachs. Is that right? And Baldoni says, that's correct.
He said he mansplained?
Yes. That you had
great.
interrupted and mansplained something as it relates to abuse and data and statistics to Miss Sachs.
Wow.
And you promised that, and he's reading Baldoni's quote, as we go forward, I will make sure that doesn't happen again to any of the women involved in this film. Baldoni says, that is what I said. Gottlieb says, you said you would always listen? And Baldoni says, yes. Gottlieb says, do you think pressure had been getting to you at this point, the end of February 2023? And Baldoni says, I don't know if I can answer it's been getting to me. I think I felt a lot of pressure.
Like, for example, I was at the grocery store the other day, and this woman, she picked up my zucchini, and she weighed it, and she dropped my fucking zucchini. And I just wanted to grab her by the neck and just start choking her to...
Is that funny to you? Is that a funny joke? Baldoni
It's live,
never,
we try things.
Baldoni never answered why he slammed his hands down on the chair and yelled Alex Sachs's name. I wonder if that's going to come
He
up.
was Hulk mad.
He was Hulk mad. Yeah, he
got Hulk mad.
Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
Gottlieb said, okay, and that pressure had caused you to act in a way where you failed at being a safe place for others? And Baldoni says, no. Gottlieb says, would you have said these things you said here to Miss Sachs if Miss Sachs had not been a woman? And Baldoni says, I don't think I can answer that question.
Oh, okay, well.
Gottlieb
coward.
says, did you watch or read Miss Sachs's deposition testimony? And Baldoni says, I did not read it. I watched some of it. Gottlieb says, did you watch the part where Miss Sachs testified about an incident on set in which she felt verbally abused by you? And Baldoni says, I don't remember hearing verbally abused, no.
You might not have been.
Gottlieb says, do you recall Miss Sachs testifying about how you had yelled at her on the set at one point? And Baldoni says, I remember her testifying that, yes. And she felt frightened by that? And Baldoni says, I'm not sure if that was her testimony. Gottlieb says, do you recall Miss Sachs walking off a set after that incident occurred? And Baldoni says, I do not. With respect to A.J. Marbury, do you remember at any point in time asking, is A.J. Marbury a man or a woman? And Baldoni says, a woman. Do you recall at any point in time having Miss Marbury take a harassment prevention class on your behalf? And Baldoni says, no. Gottlieb says, do you recall at any point in time in April of 2023 that you were supposed to be taking a harassment prevention class? And Baldoni says, I don't. Do you recall an exchange with Miss Marbury on April 2nd, 2023, in which she said, in quotes, you're acing your harassment prevention class. Truly stellar job. And you respond, in quotes, thank you. I'm working really hard at it. Baldoni says, I don't.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I want to ask
Sounds
you.
like somebody does.
Yeah, sounds like they have some evidence that
Sounds
maybe
like somebody might be quoting something. Mm-hmm. You might want to answer cautiously.
Okay, I want to ask you about the birth scene in It Ends With Us. Did you suggest that Miss Lively perform the birth scene naked? And Baldoni says, no. Did Mr. Heath? And Baldoni says, no. Did anyone else? And he said, I don't know. Did you want Miss Lively to perform the birth scene without most of her clothes on? And Baldoni says, no. Did you ever tell Miss Lively that your wife had ripped her clothes off during childbirth? And Baldoni says, I do not recall a conversation where I said she ripped her clothes off during childbirth.
Did she?
Gottlieb says, do you recall ever sharing any information with Miss Lively in speaking about the birth scene in the movie where you recounted information about your wife giving birth to Miss Lively? And Baldoni says, I remember numerous conversations where Miss Lively and I were talking about our, and I don't mean my birth, but our like collective births, where she shared personal information and then I shared personal information about my wife. Gottlieb says, and as you sit here today, you can't recall any conversation in which the topic, including the amount of clothing or the type of clothing that Miss Lively's character ought to wear during the birthing scene. And Baldoni says, I don't remember anything specific about clothing. That was definitely not what we were talking about in terms of all the conversations around our births. So he has just identified a conversation that is safe to talk about, which was completely out of the context of the birth scene in It Ends With Us.
Yeah.
He's talking about probably some conversation that happened at her apartment, where he's just talking about, because she was pregnant. Yeah. So she's just talking about giving birth. This is probably the same conversation that he was talking about her deceased father. Remember? Because he told that whole 6-minute story about how the story
$20
how it started.
This motherfucker, you know what he found
that was
$20
the next day.
I would have left it. I mean, you're a fucking millionaire, bro. Leave it. I would have 100% left it. Yeah, of course, but I got fucking so much money. I'm going to be picking up $20.
Well, he gave it to
Lively. I would put another 20 in it.
He went up to her penthouse and was like, you could use $20. Okay. Gottlieb says, and as you sit here today, you can't recall any conversation in which the topic, including the amount of clothing or the type of clothing that Miss Lively's character ought to wear during the birthing scene. And Baldoni says, I don't remember anything specific about clothing. That was definitely not what we were talking about in terms of all the conversation around our births. Gottlieb says, did you ever ask Mr. Heath to share any portion of a video of his wife giving birth with Miss Lively? Baldoni says, I did.
With enthusiasm.
Gottlieb says, did you specify when you asked Mr. Heath to share that video with Miss Lively, what he should share from it or how much he should share from it? And Baldoni says, the only video I'm aware of is after the birth of his child. So I believe there's only one that I asked him to share. Gottlieb says, there's only one video that you're aware of that you've ever seen? And Baldoni says, that I asked him to share. And Gottlieb says, that you asked him to share with Miss Lively. Baldoni says, yes. And your testimony is that video begins after the point that the baby was born? And Baldoni says, I have not watched the video in years. I believe it was the birth of his daughter, and my memory of the beginning of that video is that him and his wife Natasha and his baby are in the birthing tub, surrounded by his family. Gottlieb says, do you have any knowledge one way or the other whether the entire event of the birth of Mr. Heath's child was filmed or put on video? And Baldoni says, I was not there. Gottlieb says, you were not there? And Baldoni says, I was not at the birth of his child.
A bummer. All sold out?
Gottlieb says...
Standing room only.
Gottlieb says, but do you know one way or the other whether there is a video of his wife giving birth? And Baldoni says, as I said, I was not there, so I wouldn't know. Gottlieb says, and you were present when Mr. Heath showed this video to Miss Lively? And Baldoni says, I was not. Gottlieb says, do you know one way or the other how much of the video Mr. Heath showed to Miss Lively?
No,
Excuse me. And Baldoni says, I have no personal knowledge of that. Gottlieb says, do you know whether Wayfarer Studios ever described the video that Mr. Heath showed to Miss Lively as a birthing video? And Baldoni says, I don't. Do you recall testifying yesterday about some communications with Melissa Nathan and the TAG team about a scenario planning document?
TAG team, I mean, it's genius.
It's so brilliant. I know. Do you recall testifying yesterday about some communications with Melissa Nathan and the TAG team about a scenario planning document? He says yes. And I think it was in Exhibit 16, Gottlieb says, that was introduced yesterday. And there was a document in which you were asked some questions about saying that you didn't feel that this scenario planning document was all that impressive. Do you recall testifying to that effect? And Baldoni says, I don't recall my exact testimony from yesterday. Gottlieb says, do you recall saying anything? Do you recall yesterday saying that about the scenario planning document? You thought it wasn't that impressive and that you felt like they were just trying to get the gig. And Baldoni says, it sounds like that's what I said and you're reading it, so I'm going to say yes. Gottlieb says, do you recall testifying yesterday that you were feeling so scared and anxious that even if they had proposed to build an iron dome, you would not have felt protected? And Baldoni says, I do remember
What's
that.
everybody in their goddamn domes? Their iron domes. Did you stop with the iron domes?
Because they're Israel-brained.
Jesus. It's intimidating.
Gottlieb
It's like,
says, and you testified that you were extremely worried about the gloves coming off, remember? And Baldoni says, as I think anyone would be, yes.
like heated rivalry gloves coming off? Or which kind?
Are they latex gloves?
Are they latex? No, like heated rivalry is hockey.
Oh, because they...
And then they throw their gloves off when they fight.
Oh, okay. But
And
you
then
said
heated
heated
rivalry,
rivalry, so it's naked.
Yeah,
so
well,
everything is
except
naked in the
gloves,
context.
Okay, now
You were just talking about hockey, where they throw their gloves off so they can punch each other.
But instead they have sex.
Okay, what are we talking about
Heated
anymore?
rivalry. Everybody's talking about it.
Okay, listen. Gottlieb says, and you testified that you were extremely worried about the gloves coming off, remember? And Baldoni says, as I think anyone would be, yes. He does this a lot, dude. This is
He applies this universal?
No, but this is metaphorical speech. It literally means nothing.
Yeah.
Saying that you were extremely worried about the gloves coming off, you're literally saying you're extremely worried about absolutely nothing.
Right.
It's figurative language.
Correct.
It doesn't mean anything.
It's speculative.
But Baldoni is sure that he would be in good company being extremely worried about something that is completely indefined.
Yeah,
He says, as I think anyone would be, yes.
Yeah.
Why do you think anyone
It's
would
also
be?
like he said, I think, which just like I said, man, the guy just walks around in a bubble, man. He just doesn't, he's not living on the same plane. He's seeing all the same things and he's eating all the same popcorn.
Now I want popcorn.
But he's not playing in the same actual plane.
When he gets into like I'm being attacked mode, when he gets into defensive mode, I think he just stops thinking. He's probably a very clever person, a very good critical thinker.
He can be. I mean, we hear it.
But he just like gets into this mode. I don't understand why he said.
No,
you testified that you were extremely worried about the gloves coming off, and he said, as I think anyone would be, yes.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything.
No, it's the whole thing.
The fuck are you worried about? Okay.
Yeah.
Gottlieb says, first of all, at the point in which you were exchanging this information about the scenario planning document, do you recall when you were exchanging back and forth communications with Miss Abel or Miss Nathan about the scenario planning document and what Tag was proposing to do? Do you recall when? And he says August. So that's the month of the premiere. Gottlieb says, if I told you that Exhibit 16 had a date of August 2nd on it, would that sound right to you? And Baldoni says, I would believe you. Gottlieb says, at this point, you're not yet in New York for the press junket, right? And Baldoni says, and Gottlieb says, August 2nd, 2024. And Baldoni says, I was in Sweden, correct? Gottlieb says, the first day of the press junket was August 5th. Is that right? And Baldoni says, thank you for telling me yes. Gottlieb says, on August 8th, you fly to Chicago. Is that right? Baldoni says, that sounds about right. So on August 2nd, there is not a lot of social media chatter about the premiere and what is happening with the premiere, right? And Baldoni says, I don't know. Gottlieb says, but the edit is done, right? Baldoni says, the edit? And Gottlieb says, of the film, the movie is done, right? And Baldoni says, it had been done for months, yes. Gottlieb says, posters were printed? Baldoni says, posters were printed, yes. Gottlieb says, the trailer's been out for months? And Baldoni says, correct. Gottlieb says, all that is left at this point is the premiere, right? And Baldoni says, and more promotion. Gottlieb says, and the thing that you're afraid of, the storm that you see coming, is the reaction to when you and the cast don't appear at the premiere together, right? And Baldoni says, one of the things. Gottlieb says, what were you afraid people would infer when you and the cast did not appear together at the premiere?
Oh, it's his favorite thing, inferring.
Baldoni says, I think what I was afraid of was what I didn't know people would infer.
The inference.
Drink every time
inference.
he says infer.
Oh.
And you'll be wasted.
Yep.
I think what I was afraid of was what I didn't know people would infer. I think the internet is a scary place. And I think that what happens is when a situation is created, I believe intentionally, to leave Easter eggs that something could be amiss so that the internet can fill in the blanks. I think anything is possible. I think imaginations can run wild. And I also think that at that point, that's where lies can be told. And I think all of that was very scary to me. Again, none of this has happened. He is just paranoid. These are paranoid fantasies. Okay? Gottlieb says, did it occur to you at this time, Mr. Baldoni, that there might be a good reason why Jenny Slate didn't want to follow you on social media and didn't want to appear alongside you at the premiere? And Baldoni says, I had a perfectly fine working relationship with Jenny Slate from the moment that I was made aware that she didn't like my sexy comment about her wardrobe and all the hugs. So from that point on, Miss Slate and I never had an issue nor discussed anything. Gottlieb says, did it occur to you that Isabella Ferrer might have a reason why she didn't want to appear alongside you at the premiere? And Baldoni says, I was very confused by why Miss Ferrer unfollowed me and wouldn't appear with me. I had no idea. Gottlieb says, did you ask her why? And Baldoni says, I think it was very clear that when a person publicly unfollows you and also through channels tells you they don't want you at the premiere or they won't attend, I think I took the hint that I shouldn't reach out to anybody and ask.
You know, here's the problem with that. It's like I can relate to that. Like, I don't know if you can relate to that, but I can relate to like, okay, yeah, I mean, I'm out. Like, that's it. I'm not going to fight it. You know, I've tapped out of 100
yeah, it's okay
situations.
It's reasonable to turtle.
But why are you retaliating because of it?
Yeah.
Like, this is where it gets fucking weird.
This is where it's weird.
It's just like now you feel the need to attack because these people don't like you. Like, it doesn't matter.
You don't want to jump in the fray because you have this very reasonable assumption. I think I took the hint that I shouldn't reach out to anybody and ask. But why are you not going to jump in the fray if you actually want to start a war with them?
Also,
like,
you're
you
a
should
director,
ask for
you're a
more
director in
information.
Hollywood. Like, you're a director in Hollywood. Let me tell you something, man. I, right until the very last moment, tried to fight for my position that I had earned in Hollywood. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't just lay down, you know? This guy's just talking about laying down. He's not talking
But he
about
didn't,
like,
though. He started a smear campaign.
Well, exactly. He calls that defense.
If he had just laid down, everything would have blown over. He would be fine. He'd still have a career. He'd still have his agents. He'd still have
I'm just
everything.
saying the guy should have fucking called up his actor prior to the premiere and said, hey, what is going on? What was so fucking bad? Like, how can I make it up to you? What happened?
That would have been protecting his company and this situation. I don't know, man. I mean,
I want to know what I need to know what was so bad about me that you can't be seen with me.
so he could have done that the same way that he sent Alex Sachs an apology note to Jenny Slate. He could have found some intermediary to figure out what was going on and how he can remedy the situation, you know?
Yeah.
But he didn't. Okay. Baldoni's
Fucking
answer
bizarre.
was, I think it was very clear that when a person publicly unfollows you and also through channels tells you that they don't want you at the premiere or they won't attend, I think I took the hint that I shouldn't reach out to anybody and ask. Gottlieb says, but you didn't reach out and ask, right? And Baldoni says, I did not believe that anything that I had to say could compete with any influence that Miss Lively had.
All this guy does is fucking break the rules that his lawyer wants him not to break. Shut up. Because all this is, in my opinion, is just building up more evidence toward him having a motive to retaliate.
Yeah, he also just makes assumptions all over the place. He said, I did not believe that anything I had to say could compete with any influence that Miss Lively had.
What are you even talking about?
You don't even fucking know.
You don't
dude.
even know what Miss Lively said.
Yeah.
What are you even talking about?
Question. Even though, in your view, all of this was based on lies? And Baldoni says, when you're dealing with arguably the most powerful couple in Hollywood with the most powerful friends in the world,
Oh, shut up.
mixed with someone who's extremely charming and personable and has so much to offer someone as young as her, by that point, there was nothing I believe I could have said to her that could affect any influence that Miss Lively had on her, on Isabella Ferrer, so I did not even try.
You would think that if he believed that these two were one of the most powerful couples in Hollywood, that you would think then that he would be more diplomatic. You'd think he'd want to be like,
So you want to go to
let's
war
get
with
to the
some
table.
You want to
You
go
wanna
to war with the most powerful couple
Yeah.
in Hollywood?
He's
with the
screaming
most
out,
powerful friends in the world?
He's screaming that out in emails. She wants war, she'll get war. He talks about how he spoke with Emily about the Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds proposed statement
Yeah.
that he would sign and they would put out jointly and put an end to their disputes publicly in that statement. And he said that after speaking with his wife, Emily, she agreed with him to go to war. And in the next breath, he's talking about going to war against the most powerful couple in Hollywood. He doesn't believe what he's saying. Who does that? Like, the only reason I'm at war with Leonardo DiCaprio is because he literally stole my movie. He literally destroyed my reputation and my career in Hollywood, making movies and finding the thing I was supposed to do most in my life. So, as opposed to this guy who could have just moved on. He had a fucking billionaire, bro.
You know what's
Everyone
weird?
was going to work with him.
What's weird about this next question is that this is literally what Baldoni alleged in his lawsuit, as if you can sue somebody for this. Okay?
Yeah.
Question. So it's your testimony that you believed that the reason that all of the cast members who unfollowed you and did not want to appear alongside you at the premiere, that all of them did that only because Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds had pressured them to do so? And Baldoni says that's not my testimony.
Oh, it isn't. That's what you...
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's literally at the center of his accusations.
Gottlieb says, is that what you believed? And Baldoni says, I believe that prior to meeting and working with Miss Lively, I have never had anyone unfollow me or ask to not be seen in a photo with me. That's what I believe. Gottlieb says, because you had never experienced that before? Or are you saying that you attribute the cause of the unfollowing and the request to not appear alongside you at the premiere? You attribute the cause of all of that to Miss Lively? And Baldoni says, that's not my testimony. Gottlieb says, do you think your conduct on the set of It Ends With Us had anything to do with the decisions made by the cast members, other than Miss Lively, to not want to follow you and not appear alongside you at the premiere? And Baldoni says, I'm unsure if... And Gottlieb says, can you repeat the question? This is...
Gottlieb says?
Yeah, it's weird. Gottlieb is cited saying, can you repeat the question? This is not working for me. And the stenographic reporter goes, oh, okay. The record is read.
Okay.
Do you think your conduct on the set of It Ends With Us had anything to do with the decisions made by cast members, other than Miss Lively, not wanting to follow you and not appearing alongside you at the premiere?
Also known as accountability. Do you have any accountability?
Baldoni says, I can't speculate and answer that question.
Yeah. You're
Gottlieb
such a fucking coward, bro. You're such a coward. Oh, I know that I'm imperfect and that I have to work on myself. Were you in the wrong? I can't answer that question with clarity.
Yeah, there can't be any consequences socially whatsoever for the things that you've done.
Get the fuck out of here with your
You're
bullshit.
apologizing all over the place, but maybe when somebody is like, I've had enough.
Until you've been
that's
asked
unacceptable.
to be held accountable, and now you've got a problem with it. We should probably find a stopping point.
Yeah, okay.
How many pages do we have left on this endless deposition? I'm cool. We're going to the end. We're doing this. I know it's for a good cause. But how long do you think?
I mean, see, here's the thing. I promised that I would count, and I didn't. Okay, so that's my bad.
Well, today we got in it. I can't remember how late we got to it, and because,
But also,
cosmic urgency came in.
It's hard to tell because there's a huge. I mean, I could just scroll down. Why don't you? Let me just wait until I find a stopping point real quick.
Off you go.
Okay, it's real soon.
Off you go.
Gottlieb says, you don't know what their motivations were? And Baldoni says, I think it's impossible to know what anybody's motivation is.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He sued for $400 million because he was sure what her motivations were. But okay. Question. And you didn't ask what their motivations were? And Baldoni says, I did not ask what anyone's motivations were. Gottlieb said, and notwithstanding that you were very concerned...
But you accused them of wanting to steal the movie. Mm-hmm. And theoretically, because they wanted the sequel, because... wanted creative control of the movie, wanted to undermine him. Like, he's putting out accusations. I don't know how he can say these two things.
Yeah, well, we know that he didn't ask what anyone's motivations are because he's just ad-libbing. He doesn't understand.
But he's already said them. He said
he'll learn, though. He'll learn through the trial what exactly everybody thought.
From him. She wanted to steal the film from him. Fucking weird-ass shit.
Okay.
He still owns the film.
Question. And notwithstanding that you were very concerned and very afraid, you did not initiate an investigation at this point in time to clear your name? And Baldoni says, I did not initiate an investigation at that time.
0 investigations, loads of accusations, problems, and discourse.
But he doesn't have any information.
Yeah.
Gottlieb said, instead, you retained the agency group, right? And Baldoni says, I would not classify it as that. Gottlieb said, and you commissioned the scenario planning document to get ahead of what you thought might be coming? And Baldoni says, I just want to go back. I did not use the word instead of investigating. I just want to say that's not it. I disagree. Gottlieb said, you didn't investigate, correct? And Baldoni says, I did not investigate. Gottlieb says, you didn't talk to the cast members who had unfollowed you, correct? And Baldoni says, correct. You didn't go out and give an interview and speak publicly where you said, I'm concerned there are misconceptions or misapprehensions about what has happened on the set. You didn't do that, right? And Baldoni says, no. Instead, what you did, Gottlieb says, you asked your team to prepare a plan in the event that any information became public, right? And Baldoni says, no. Gottlieb said, okay. Exhibit 38 is a document, and I will represent to you, sir, that there are two versions of the same document attached to this at the end. So you'll only, Baldoni says, is there a reason for that? Gottlieb said, that's how it was produced to us. And so in looking through this, you only need to look through the text on the first 4 pages there. Baldoni says, so I'm not to look at the document? And Gottlieb says, you can look through the text, and then just all I'm saying is you don't need to read the same document twice. Baldoni says, are we sure we know it's the exact same document? Gottlieb says, I'm going to represent to you that it is. Baldoni says, okay, but are we sure?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Gottlieb
says, just shut the fuck up.
Gottlieb said, your lawyers will call me on that if I'm lying.
Yeah, I mean, you use your brain. I know it's difficult. It probably, it's one of them pull start ones. But
Gottlieb shuffles through the papers, says, I'm wrong. It's very different. I will retract my statement and you may review the whole thing. Baldoni says, she didn't even...
wrong?
I don't know.
It's different?
He's trying to match it up for him.
Oh.
Baldoni says she didn't even have to call you out on it. And Gottlieb says, I apologize. I was mistaken. My mistake. Baldoni says, can I borrow this pen? Gottlieb says, sure. Gottlieb says, I'm sorry, Mr. Baldoni. I can represent to you, if you look at the text, that the only difference between the two documents is reflected in that second message on the text page is a correction. And Baldoni says, you mean you can represent to me what you just did? He said, yeah. Baldoni says, but you were just wrong. And Gottlieb says, do you want to read the text? And Baldoni says, I'm just, not that I don't trust you, but in the same way, I just want to read it if that's okay. And Gottlieb's like, okay. Another attorney spoke up, Miss Ahurayan, said, sorry, I would like to clarify. So these are duplicates of I know we've been back and forth about this. Gottlieb says, no, there's a change made. There's one change. Miss Ahurayan says, between this and this. And Gottlieb says, there's 2 documents attached at the end. They're both attachments that are referenced in the text message, which you will see if you follow through. And there's a description of the change that's made in the text messages. She goes, got it. Okay. Thank you. Gottlieb says, and again, this is how the document was produced to us. So she says, understood. Gottlieb is asking, Mr. Baldoni, I'm going to ask you to stop your review now. You've been reading this document for 10 minutes, and I promise you I will not ask you any questions about the differences between the 2 versions of this. Baldoni says, I just want you to know I just finished reading this and I felt like I was reading at a decent speed. Gottlieb says, okay, I'm stating for the record the reason I'm asking you to stop your review now. This is a document that is a text message between you, Mr. Heath, Miss Case, Miss Nathan, and others on August 2nd of 2024. Is that correct? He says that appears to be correct. And there are 2 versions of this scenario planning document that are attached to this. Is that right? And Baldoni says, that's what I'm taking yours and everyone's word for. Okay, and you recall being sent this scenario planning document, is that right? He says, again, I believe I do. Gottlieb says, you testified about it yesterday, feeling that it didn't provide the protection that you were looking for at the time. Baldoni says, is this the same version of the document that I was testifying about yesterday? And Gottlieb says, can we agree that you testified about a scenario planning document sent to you by tag that you were unimpressed with? And Baldoni says, yes, I just don't know if this is the one or not. Gottlieb said, okay, do you know as you sit here today, which, if any, of the services or activities or tactics laid out in the scenario planning documents were put into motion? And Baldoni says, my understanding, based on my directives, and I believe Mr. Heath's, was that nothing was to be put into motion. We were in a completely defensive place. Gottlieb said, did you know that alongside Jen Abel and her team, TAG did, in fact, manage media inquiries regarding the news on background as sources familiar? Baldoni says, I don't know what that means. Gottlieb says, you don't know what it means to talk to the media as a source familiar? And Baldoni says, a source familiar, specify please. Gottlieb says, you don't know what it means to talk to a reporter, not on the record and an official statement, but rather saying you, reporter, can print this is what happened based on a source familiar? And Baldoni says, being very honest, the way that you're describing it is not something that I mean, I know they speak to reporters, that's their job in PR, but a source familiar is not something I've heard. Gottlieb says, so you knew that Miss Abel and the TAG team were talking to reporters during this engagement?
Like his kids are going to be like, they're going to get away with everything. Like he's like the kind of parent where you can like smoke weed right under his nose and be like, it's incense. He'd be like, it better be. Hey, walk off. Yeah. You know, all pissed off. The kids are like,
especially since he's been sober his whole life.
yeah, exactly.
So he doesn't know.
My dad doesn't know anything.
They're gonna walk home and like
be all baked.
He's gonna be like, "Where have you been?" Their pupils are like this big.
Yeah, they'll be like, "Oh, we were napping in the forest." Oh, I've done that once.
Question. So you knew that Miss Abel and the tag team were talking to reporters during their engagement? And Baldoni says, I mean, Miss Abel's engagement, that's her job, is to speak to reporters. Gottlieb said, okay, so I'm asking you if you know one way or the other whether Tag and Miss Abel were managing media inquiries regarding the news on background as sources familiar. And Baldoni says, I was not with them, so I would have no way to know one way or the other. Gottlieb says, did you have a view on whether you wanted them to be doing that? Baldoni says, yes, I did. I had a very strong view. Gottlieb said, and what was that view? Baldoni says, I didn't want them saying anything that was negative about anybody or anything.
Oh,
Gottlieb
bullshit.
says, you didn't want them saying anything
Wait a second.
that was
it you who sent the fucking Haley Bieber, this is what we need, post or not? Was it you who said to fucking Jen Abel, he wants to know that, did you say, I want to know that she can bury her?
He wants to know that
liar, bro.
He wants to know that she can be buried.
Filthy fucking liar.
Also, he sent this whole
I want everything to be peace and love.
He sent this whole explanation about Ryan Reynolds being a scab and saying that he's anti-feminist and shit. Like, what the fuck, dude?
I'm just like, well, I hope Gottlieb's got a, like, so you didn't want anything negative to come out, correct? Yes. What did you do to stop it from happening when it did? Did you make any statements? Or did you plan to make any statements?
Did you manage this team at all?
What did you do to try to stop the venomous attacks on these women and all the negative information coming out, not only about you, but about these women, if you were so concerned with any kind of negative publicity?
Gottlieb says, you didn't want them saying anything that was negative about anyone or anything, even on background? And Baldoni says, absolutely. Gottlieb says, even off the record? And Baldoni says, I don't know if I can be more specific than I just was. Gottlieb says, do you know if they ever, Miss Abel and Tag, working on your behalf, said anything negative about anyone to members of the media during this period of time in August of 2024? And Baldoni says, again, I don't know how I would know that. Gottlieb said, did you want Tag to be providing information to ensure that your narrative was properly represented in any and all coverage? And Baldoni says that my narrative was properly represented in any and all coverage. The only narrative that I wanted to make sure was properly represented was my original intentions for why I wanted to make this movie. That was extremely important to me.
Oh.
Gottlieb asks, do you know one way or the other whether Tag confirmed that outlets on intending covering the story, especially those impactful to your Mr. Heath's and Wayfarer's interests, were fully briefed on the situation, including and not limited to The Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Deadline, The Wrap, New York Post, Daily Mail, etc.? And Baldoni says, I feel like I can save you a lot of questions by telling you that this was my scenario planning document that was never, from my end, given approval to execute on any level. Gottlieb says, any piece of this document? And Baldoni says, yes. Gottlieb says, it's your testimony that you believe that you never approved Tag or Ms. Abel doing any of the things that are listed on this document?
Holy fuck.
And Baldoni says...
You writing this down, John Farm?
Yeah, this is page 320 of the Gottlieb Day of Depositions.
Wow.
Baldoni says, I believe we started this conversation by you saying if I remember my testimony and that I wasn't satisfied with this document. So if I'm answering your question the way that I think you're asking it, then that would be yes, because I did not like this document. I didn't find it to be amazing. And so there was nothing that could be approved from it. I didn't ever approve this document. Gottlieb says, you wanted Tag to do something else. And Baldoni says, I was not satisfied with this particular document. Gottlieb says, and you had a call following up on this scenario planning document with Miss Abel and Miss Nathan, right? And Baldoni says, I don't remember the specifics of the call, but I'm sure I did. It's the same call he didn't want to answer about yesterday.
Right.
Question. Did they talk to you in that call about what it would mean to get ahead of the narrative? Baldoni says, not that I remember. You have no recollection of discussing with Miss Nathan or Miss Abel things that could be done to get ahead of the narrative that you were afraid might come out? And Baldoni says, my conversations with Miss Abel and Miss Nathan were very few together. And they were very, very clear that I wanted to focus on the good Gottlieb says, do you remember looking at a document that had a post of Haley Baber embedded in it yesterday? It was Exhibit 17.
Here we go.
Should I cut off now?
I mean, no, I'm fucking riveted.
Okay. Baldoni says, I can't recall the exhibit number, but I do remember the document. Question. And you testified that I will represent to you that Exhibit 17 that was admitted yesterday was a text exchange with you and Miss Abel on August 5th, 2024.
Before the premiere.
Baldoni says, do you have it? I would love to see it so we can reference it. Gottlieb says, well, I'm going to just ask you some questions. August 5th was the start of the press junket, right? And Baldoni says, if that's the date you gave before, then I will continue to believe you, yes. Gottlieb says, and you testified yesterday that there was a reference to friction that you and Miss Abel discussed, and you had used the word friction in an interview that you had given, and Sony had objected to that. Do you recall that? And Baldoni says, I remember a text message where she was saying that Sony didn't like the word friction, but again, it would be easier if you would just give me the document because then I can respond to it. Gottlieb says, I understand that. Do you recall the text message Miss Abel sent to you saying, and this is a quote, Sony is having a hard time with the word friction. They think it'll be taken out as clickbait. They obviously don't know about our strategy, but let's stick to the word of challenge in that role that you had as a director to get everyone to come together and be on the same page to create something beautiful. Do you remember that exchange? And Baldoni says, yes, I do, from yesterday's deposition. Gottlieb says, you testified that the reference to friction was part of the strategy to saying only positive things and not drawing attention to the situation. Is that right? And Baldoni says, do we have my testimony and I can just confirm that was exactly what I said, or are you paraphrasing that? And Gottlieb said, is that consistent with your recollection? And Baldoni says, I believe so. Gottlieb says, isn't it in fact true that the use of the word friction was itself a press strategy to get ahead of a particular narrative? And Baldoni says, I'm not sure. I feel like there's only so many words you can use to describe in a positive way what was experienced.
What? Okay.
That's very passive verbiage there. Very passive language. What was experienced? By the sea turtles in the ocean? What do you mean? What they experienced. What you experienced. What we experienced. What was experienced. Anyway, whatever.
Whatever.
It just seems very like he's obviously the perpetrator in all of these scenarios, whether he feels like he's wrongfully accused or not. And it's just interesting that he keeps using this passive, non-committal language. Okay. Gottlieb says, would you be surprised to learn that Tag and Miss Abel had specifically discussed you using the word friction in order to plant a seed and get ahead of a narrative? And Baldoni says, I don't agree with the way that you're characterizing that question. Gottlieb says, did you agree with Sony that the word friction at the time, when there was speculation in the fan community about a feud, was clickbait? And Baldoni says, I don't remember agreeing with much of anything Sony was saying during that time. Gottlieb said, including your advice about how to market the film? I'm sorry, including their advice about how to market the film. And Baldoni says, I believe from day one, before I even sold the film to Sony or partnered with them, we had disagreements on how to market the film.
Did you see the words he used there? Mm-hmm. Sold the film to Sony.
Yep, or partnered with them.
Who's boss, bro?
We had disagreements on how to market the film.
Yeah. And yet that's what you hired them for, because you're not an expert.
So he is admitting that he had disagreements with Sony on how to market the film.
Correct.
And not that Blake Lively went fucking rogue.
No. I mean, we know what happened. And listen, the reason why Blake Lively ended up leading that cut in the end was because Sony was going to get a producer's cut or a studio cut out of the the production. And the only people to lead that are going to be the producers on the set.
Yeah.
And Blake Lively ended up becoming the most qualified for that job. And she also cited certain concerns that she felt, and that was backed by Colleen Hoover, author of the material, the underlying material, that she felt was, sort of heavy compromises to the integrity of the work, including gratuitous sex, the 17-year-old, divergenies. What do you call that? Whatever.
I don't. It's a teen sex scene that he wrote.
There's a word, and I don't know why it completely escaped me, but it doesn't matter. There's probably more than one word. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nonetheless, so, more garbage. Are we at a stopping point?
No.
Damn it.
Why? You want to go?
No, it's cool. I'm kidding.
Well, you said that this was riveting, so I just want to continue.
Keep going. I'm good.
Okay. Including their advice about how to market the film, Baldoni says, I believe from day one, before I even sold the film to Sony or partnered with them, we had disagreements on how to market the film. Gottlieb says, and it is in response to that message about friction from Miss Abel that you sent Miss Abel the message, the screenshot of the Hailey Bieber thread from Twitter, right? And Baldoni says, no. Gottlieb says, it's not. And Baldoni says, no. Gottlieb said, you said it in response to what? And Baldoni says, would you mind reading me the time of my message at the time of the Hailey Bieber message? And Gottlieb says, sure, the time of the first message from Miss Abel is 10:42 a.m. And the time of your message to Miss Abel about Hailey Bieber is at 12:06 p.m.
20 minutes later, bud.
Yeah. So Baldoni says, so I don't have a calculator, but could you help me with how much time is between those two texts? And Gottlieb says, I think you know how much time is in between those two texts. And Baldoni says, I genuinely do not know how much time.
Wow, this guy can't be trusted with anything.
Does he drive? He's in charge of a company.
Does he drive? Does he operate a motor vehicle? Because you need to move a lot of different things.
There is a billionaire who entrusts him to take care of his billionaire company.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Gottlieb says, what is it you would like to say? And Baldoni says, well, your question was it a response? Gottlieb says, and your testimony, I gather, is no, it was not. And Baldoni says, that is my testimony, that it was not a response.
Oh, bullshit.
Okay. What were you responding to when you said, in quotes, this is what we would need? And you sent the text, the Twitter thread of Hailey Bieber. And Baldoni says, I don't agree with the question. I can't answer that.
That's not how this fucking works, bro.
Gottlieb said, what were you sent? What were you trying to convey?
I don't agree with the question?
Yeah.
I've never heard anything so stupid in my life.
Gottlieb says, why did you send this text message at 12:06 p.m. to Miss Abel in which you say, in quotes, this is what we would need, and the only thing you have put into the text message is a screenshot of a Twitter thread where the line at the top says, and he's reading, Hailey Bieber's history of bullying many women, not just Selena Gomez, through the years thread. And Baldoni says, that's a very long question. You just asked me.
I'm so fucking furious at him right now. I would fucking want to scratch his eyes out.
Gottlieb says, why did you send that to Miss Abel?
Why?
And
It's the question says, over and over and over and over again, you fucking... And what does he say?
He says, but I can't answer the why. It was not a response. That's why I couldn't answer the question.
Oh, you're such a lying fucking... Oh, you're a garbage human being.
Gottlieb says...
You're trash.
Why did you send it to Miss Abel?
Why, bro?
Baldoni says, again, we were in a place of defense. And as you may have seen from many of the early text threads you've shown me, I was afraid. At this point, I felt I was up against Goliath, and Blake Lively and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, and everyone in their circle, Hugh Jackman, Sean Levy, Taylor Swift. By that point, as I testified earlier...
What a fucking idiot, dude. You had the company of the most elite Hollywood fucking
This is a long answer.
Okay.
By that point, as I testified earlier, I was essentially forced or threatened to step down off my film. I wasn't able to finish my own film, even considering it tested higher. Somehow, the actress of the movie who was not a producer was able to take complete control of the film.
Completely not true. Ange Giannetti in her testimony absolutely laid out the reality of the situation, which is that they had a bake-off incorporated in the contract from the beginning because they did not want to have Justin Baldoni having a final cut because directors don't get final cuts.
Baldoni continues.
But he's completely, it's just completely deranged.
Yep.
Like from the actual evidence,
Yes.
not like no speculation involved here.
He is not seeing the situation as it is.
No, Sony set him up for this and nobody let him know the truth because it would be Sony being like, because it would have to be Sony being like, well, no, we did the bake-off clause because we didn't want you to have it in the first place because the score is only one of the factors we take into consideration when we release a movie.
Okay, he continues, okay? Baldoni says, by this point, Miss Lively had requested that my name be removed, so I had my A Film By credit removed. I was removed from the majority of marketing materials, from the poster. I was being removed for the most...
God, what a fucking...
From the trailer. I know that she had been working with Taylor Swift to make sure that she got the song that she wanted in the film.
I can't stand it. This is the third time I've heard this fucking monologue and I want to choke him out every time.
And I had assumed that was not a battle or a fight that I could ever win. All of the cast had unfollowed
You getting Taylor Swift, you won! You already won, you fucking half-witted fucking fool! You already won!
Let me read
You're the winner!
All of the cast had unfollowed me, which is a very public thing to do right before a movie comes out, all in unison. And at that time, I was
They're all like in the same room. 3, 2, What? Wait. Hang on, my dog farted. I got to move to a different room. Come on, man.
At that time, I was being threatened via my agency that if I didn't release a statement, then the gloves would come off.
Oh, and did they?
Now, I don't know the exact sequence of the time in which I sent that text, but I will tell you that the feeling and the aura around the environment that was created, not by me at that time, created a lot of fear. I didn't know what was possible. So we were in a defensive mode because at this point, I didn't know what Miss Lively or her group of powerful Hollywood elites were capable of.
Dude, I'd be scared for my life if I was fucking married to this guy if I had 2 kids. This guy's the kind of guy who could corner himself psychologically into doing very bad things.
The feeling and the aura.
That's all psychological nonsense.
That was created not by me at that time, created a lot of fear.
You called it aura. You called it an aura.
Are you afraid?
There's no fucking aura that anybody else is going to be able to witness.
I didn't know what was possible. Cool. So why didn't you think positively, bro? For like 1 fucking second. So we were in a defensive mode because at this point I didn't know what Miss Lively or her group of powerful Hollywood elites were capable of. So I saw a message or I saw a tweet, which I did not read. And I saw that it was a celebrity woman who had a history of bullying. And I resonated with the term bullying because to me, that was a true statement to what I experienced. I felt I was being very bullied. So I sent that to Miss Abel on a whim in an emotional state, but I made sure to preface it with, this is what we would, with an emphasis on the operative word being would, need. Not that we need to do this, not that I want to do this, but this is what we would need if lies were to be spread about me intentionally. Gottlieb says, the gloves would come off conversation hadn't happened at the time you sent this, right? And Baldoni says, so then we can imagine, Baldoni answers, so then we can imagine that conversation, it was all mixed into the same feelings, but the feeling I had was everything else that I said. He says the reason for why he sent that was because he had been dealing with this, the gloves will come off. But Gottlieb is like, but that hadn't happened yet. And Baldoni's like, okay, forget all that. Then it was everything else.
The gloves came off in his head.
He wasn't reacting to that.
Aura. He created everything that he said wasn't created by him.
He doesn't even have a clear understanding of what the fuck he was afraid of. Because that's the thing that happened after.
Train wreck of a human being.
Absolutely.
Inconsolable, can't be fucking helped. He's got delusional thinking. I mean, utterly delusional thinking.
Yeah.
Like you can't characterize this as anything other than delusional thinking. Nobody's involved in creating this fucking aura that he just made up, except him.
Listen,
and in the same sentence of saying that, he's saying that it was not created by him.
No. Gottlieb says you hadn't been threatened yet, and Baldoni says I wouldn't agree with that.
Oh.
Gottlieb said, you mentioned having your film buy credit removed. Baldoni says yes.
Well, maybe we stop here. Do you want to keep going?
No, that's fine. This is good.
Because we're at 2.5 hours.
Okay, cool.
What's up, people?
What's up, peeps?
We're going to get through this fucking deposition, I swear. I think we're getting close to the end now.
I mean, I'm entertained the whole time.
I know. Where are we, do you think, in the document?
Yeah, let me check.
Percentage-wise.
Okay. Just give me a second to look, okay?
Yo, what's up? Titanic Edits is in the house. Hey, yo, Titanic Edits. Guess what I'm doing? Oh, well, I don't know, actually. You're not. Are you a filmmaker? I know you're a badass editor. Check out our Patreon. It's in the link. But if you come aboard, only come aboard as the crew because I have to fix it. Because the crew is getting the writer's room. I know you don't know what I'm talking about, but I created this Patreon so that we can raise money to take this to the next level. Look at the screen. I'll show you what I mean. Look, watch this. Yeah, next level. Look at that. So anyway, there's a writer's room, and starting next week, I tried to get it this week, but I just have too much technical work to do before I can launch it. But starting next week, I'm going to be writing the second edition of Too Real. I'm going to be writing it live on the Patreon, and I'm going to use that opportunity I'm going to use the word teach, but I use that word loosely. It's more like I'm going to use that opportunity to learn. And by that, I mean, I'm going to hit instances and, just really take the opportunity to expose, maybe it's techniques or whatever it is. You'll see. It's going to be fun if you come and check it out. You can also join the Patreon for free. Check out the link. It's in the description below. Can't believe I said in the description below. Angela.
We'll be done tomorrow. If we do this tomorrow?
Yeah, we're going to do this tomorrow.
Okay.
Cosmic Energy's like, damn you to hell.
Tomorrow's the last day. And that is a wrap.
Feldbauming's like losing. Feldbauming's Alan just came out.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
The circle of Hollywood elites. We're trying to help you, you stupid explicit.
Yes. I know, dude. He was gonna be enveloped in that network, and he could have been a Hollywood elite himself.
I mean, it's very clear. Like this guy has an unfortunate. So Kate Winslet is asking when the lives will be. They're going to be every day. I'm going to write from in the morning. So I don't know, like in England or in the UK, there would be like, I guess your afternoon or something.
So you're just going to video yourself?
I'm just turning on the camera, and I'm not going to be in the chat. I will be talking to you, but I won't be listening to you because I'll be in a writing session.
Wow, that's really going to screw up your YouTube channel because it'll be a bunch of videos of you.
No, it's all private. None of it's going to be published.
Oh.
It's all private.
Okay.
You guys are going to get a private link, and you're going to be able to attend only if you have the link. And I'm going to ask you not to share the link.
You know, this is actually really cool because I am somebody who struggles with ADD type symptoms. I've never been diagnosed, so I don't know. Yeah. But what do they call it? They call it when somebody does work around you and it helps you stay focused on work. What do they call it?
I don't know what it's called, but I know what you're talking about.
There's a really cute name. Like it's not like a buddy system or something. It's something cute like that.
Yeah, so it's going to be a good time.
Anyway, it's really beneficial for people if they want to do writing. Yeah. Then they can just show up while you're doing writing, and it might help them study or read or do art or whatever.
Yeah, and you know me, man. I'm going to be explaining everything I'm doing.
Body doubling.
It's going to be dope because I'm going to break down.
My mind just delivered it.
It's body doubling?
Body doubling is what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to be like, so you guys are basically body doubling, but there's more to it than that because I'm also going to be like explaining theoretically why I'm doing what I'm doing or why I see, the changes I'm making. I'm also going to, as important or as some kind of, evolved, writing. And I'm also going to be doing, new scenes. I'm going to be kind of adding some stuff back into scenes that I took out that I kind of wanted there. And, now this is kind of my draft where I don't give a fuck about my page count. It's going to be dope. It's going to be really dope. The Patreon is just $1 a month. So you can put as much as you want in, of course, but it only costs $1. And that money, of course, we're using to just benefit this live. If I gave you a shot of this, we have invested thousands of dollars into this live, and we're really excited to be doing it. And so, yeah, we want to just take it to the next level right now, which is what we're doing with the Patreon. Anyway, I'm sick of pitching that shit.
Scientist said he needs to take a cup of cement and harden the fuck up, fucking crybaby.
Yeah, I love it. Get down.
Lively wouldn't let me SH her. What a bully.
Yeah, exactly. Australia representing.
Hanada said, defend is when you're attacked. If you don't know what would happen, you're not in defensive mode.
That's
you
correct.
are in a preventative strike.
No, that's correct. And it's not the same as like, the Russian fucking buildup at the Ukraine border prior to their launch. It's not, this is what he's trying to build the scenario where he sees the tanks rolling up on his border, and it's just a bunch of fucking nonsense because it's all paranoia. People aren't actually doing anything. And by the way, had he just shut the fuck up and went through the process of this thing, it would have all just died. There would have been murmurings, and in Hollywood, he would have had to deal with Blake Lively's side of Hollywood going, right? But he would have worked plenty, bro. The only thing they had to protect was their box office.
You know what, dude? It's for the best because this is really interesting. Let's see. A Scientist said, and yet he doesn't come off as clueless as Heath did about his duties as CEO and producer. They were going to continue to make movies, and they're they're total morons about any of this business. I don't understand why they don't get very basic shit. Like, I don't know any of this stuff either, but I'm not running a fucking company and working with the likes of fucking Sony Picture Studios,
Yeah.
But it's like, maybe it was for the best. Maybe it was like, you guys are not ready for this, and so they had to get taken down a peg by the fates or fucking whatever.
Yeah.
It's crazy that both of them seem to not be involved or know what the hell is going on. You see this in the text messages where the Sony producers and executives and marketing people are asking Heath, he's their point person. So they're asking him very basic questions, and he just simply doesn't know the answer and isn't trying to make any effort at finding the answer for them.
Yeah.
He's just incapable. So it's just, I don't know how they got this far. I guess when you're backed by a billionaire, you can just get all the way to the top. You don't even have to know what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, one thing he had in droves was luck. There was nothing but luck surrounding this guy. He found $20. He's a fucking millionaire finding $20.
Yeah, he's super lucky.
Like he's just like on the street. He's just lucky. He got Blake Lively in his first major studio picture, and he got her offering up three of the most powerful people in Hollywood. And by power, we mean three of the most influential people in Hollywood. And he ended up, dropping the ball and freaking out and turning it into something so fucking ridiculous. Yeah, Kate Winslet, who is also Titanic Edits on TikTok, she says she swears that the Blake Lively drama has been going on for a year now. It's been going on for almost exactly a year, a little more than a year now. But the trial's coming up in May. We're gearing up, and we're going to cover the hell out of it because I think it's an important case. Because I think that not only, I think the most important part of this case is Blake Lively's intent. I believe that Blake Lively felt that she had, to some extent, a duty to expose somebody being as so hypocritical as he was being, because it's dangerous, man. It's like you're building this environment where you're. He's trying to launch women directors. He's riding the coattails of feminism.
I know.
He's riding on the coattails of feminism while being a misogynist. That just doesn't work, dude. That doesn't work. That doesn't add up.
Yeah, Hinata said that Baldoni didn't call the actors who had unfollowed him and didn't want to appear alongside him on the premiere. Didn't call the actors and never talked because he knows what he did. And I bet he knows what he did in the past also.
Yeah, he knew that.
He knew why they were pissed at him.
Yeah.
He didn't think it was all water under the bridge like he says, he knew that they didn't like him. The Junk Farm said, right, after Jenny Slate literally gave him an ultimatum, he says they were fine.
Yeah, exactly. After he signed a 17-point document that outlined exactly how the set was supposed to be, the set was that way. It became that. So, yeah, I mean, come on, bro. Come on, bro.
That circumcision joke just keeps
Given.
Yeah. I can't believe that happened.
It's the craziest thing.
I can't believe that he did that.
They should do it on SNL. They should just do bits on it and just have Justin Baldoni offering that up to everybody who doesn't want to know.
Well, so
he's ordering a pizza.
So we're almost what?
I'd like to get some anchovies on that. Speaking of which, did you know that I'm circumcised?
No, it's only in the context of little babies that he wants to bring it up.
That's
which
true.
is so much worse.
How do you know? He might be inspired at any given moment.
Okay, so we're going to wrap Justin Baldoni's deposition up tomorrow. What is so far, there's more to get through, but so far, what do you think about Gottlieb's job to prepare for the trial with what he's gotten from Baldoni?
I mean, this has been an absolute success for them.
Yeah.
I just think it's an absolute success. I see this as a I think everything they went after, they got.
Yeah.
I don't see anything that they were going after that they didn't get.
He admitted he said the thing to Isabella Ferrer.
Yeah.
He also says, in this long explanation that I just read about why he sent the Hailey Bieber text, he's admitting that it was retaliatory.
Yeah.
Because he thinks she's going to do something.
Yep.
And so this is what we would need in case she speaks up about wrongdoing by him on set.
Yep.
So he's like, okay, destroy her reputation if she talks.
Yeah.
The whole list of everything that he said that Blake Lively did, there's a lot of scapegoating in there, but all of those things occurred. Yeah. A lot of them happened because Sony decided that they would happen. But him saying all of these things, he is very plainly making the case that he was retaliating, if that's part of his answer for why he sent that text to his publicist.
Yeah.
Insane. I just don't, I don't know what his fucking defense is. I guess his defense is that he's a giant bonehead and he can't be responsible for anything.
Will you round up, that's probably it. Will you round up the PGA letters? Because Our Scientist is asking for my thoughts on them, and I would love to hand them out.
Yeah, I have them all.
Would you mind wrangling them up? And then, will you point me to them and I'll read them, or will you read them aloud? Mm-hmm. And I'll just react live to them?
Yeah, great.
I hate it! I don't like it!
That. You might be through your mic.
Oh, yeah. We should go. You guys are wonderful. It was great to see you, Titanic Edits. It's so good to see you. I hope you're still cutting like crazy because you're really talented at it. And yeah, man, come drop by the Patreon. It's going to be a lot of good fun, and we're going to have more announcements about more content that's going to be just for those that we call the crew. Join the crew, man. It's a good time. Just love you guys to death. Had a great time. Hope you did too. We'll be back again tomorrow. It's only Wednesday. It's hump day. Still got 2 more of these lovely days left. So we'll see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Yeah.